And we're live. How's it going, guys? It's Zimzilla99 back again, once again. And today, everybody, how are y'all doing? It's great. Thanksgiving is just right around the corner this Thursday. And then I am part of the corporate slave class who has to work Black Friday. But I hope all of you are going to enjoy your time with your families. That's obviously the thing that's going to be most important. And just being thankful. That's all I can say. I'm going to be working on some stuff during the holiday as well as just this week, since classes are a little bit more easy for me to manage and take care of. So that's kind of what I am doing on my end. There may be a stream later on in the day for Thanksgiving if there's not a lot going on my end. So there's that, and I hope that if I do, some people can join by and just sort of have fun, shoot the shit, etc. That's and really what that's gonna be. And today, folks, it's Gamera time. So as everyone knows, there was a new Gamera anime that got announced for Netflix. I had no clue that this was a thing until a friend of mine, Brandon, who also is the man responsible for giving me a recolor of the Godzilla 84 that I have. And ironically enough, 84, that is a lot better than the Bandai that actually came out. So he showed me that, and I verbally screamed at my job, and a manly scream, of course. So that was nice, and I waited over the weekend just to see if we might have seen a Gamera figure that got revealed, although we did get some silhouettes. So that is what we're going to be talking about, as well as just Gamera designs in general, looking over some fan-made designs, my designs of my own, and sort of just see what's up and how everything's going. And there it is, the Scry, the Godzilla Apex, the man, the myth, the legend. He is in the chat. What's good, my man? It has been a long time. And there he is, the painter man himself, Brandon. Nice to see you here. Say hey in the chat just so I can shout you guys out, because I love doing that. Lets me just know who's here and just sort of who to thank for success, because, suffering from success and all that. But what's going to be happening in the meantime is just sort of getting people into the streams. I know it can be a little late, and sort of that's what happens when you have people across the globe, and not really across the globe, more like just across this country, who want to join in and share our love of kaiju. And speaking of people who have joined, one of them is in G98 Defender. What's good, my man?
Hey, what's up? I'm actually on time for once.
I know, right? Well, that's also because of the fact that I made sure to bump it all the way over the 10, and because it was all the way at 10, I got incredibly lazy and I forgot to share a bunch of links out in Discords and stuff. So, you came in early and I got lazy, so it's a win-win for us both. But how's it been?
Been good.
And of course, you've already seen the Gamera trailer, right?
Yep.
So that's awesome. We're going to be going it over for the people on stream just so they can see it as well. And what we'll do there is we can sort of give our thoughts and opinions as we go over it. And we're probably going to just pause on a freeze frame here as well. So I'll share my screen. Hopefully I don't end up in live stream jail for this, because the big issue is always having to worry about the fact that someone's going to copyright claim the stream as I'm doing it. But we'll see. Streamception a little bit. I'm going to bring down the audio just a tad for us. And I'm actually going to also change the speed of the video here to about 1.5 just so we can get through it quicker. Because usually it's around 20-second clips that get loud, and then it's like after that it can be a little dicey. So we're all set here.
Mm-hmm.
It already started for me. I love that. But let's go in from the beginning. And that is all we see is just a pan up of the poster that we also saw, and then the Gamera eye with some static, and then what is the title here? Gamera Rebirth. One thing I will note is I'm not sure if you could see if this was something you saw too, but specifically looking at it right here, doesn't it kind of look like he's looking at Earth from like space? Or do you think that's something else right here that he's looking at?
You think that's Earth?
It's either Earth or it could be another planet. I just think it's like he's looking at a planet from space. That looks like some kind of planetary body, in my opinion, or it could be.
Oh, I thought it was a tree line.
Tree. I mean, it's also possible that it's a tree line. Although, if it's a tree line, yeah, because you could see it from here. That's what it could also be. Too. The only reason probably why I thought it was like a planetary body was because of the fact that Guardian of the Universe, space, static. That's my thought on it, but it could also very well be a tree line, especially with this being more light here. But I like to be a little out there sometimes. But what is interesting to note, and I'm just gonna hide that right there for me, is when we look up, both the eyes are green, and then obviously what separates the plastrons here is green. Of course, people know that Gamera's blood is green, and then the only, one of the only Gameras that had green eyes was the 99 Gamera from Revenge of Iris, which is interesting. And of course, the Gamera Revenge of Iris is the Gamera movie everyone always talks to when it comes to like greatest of kaiju cinema, the GOAT, in a sense. And in a way, it does kind of feel like we're pushing away from even Gamera the Brave, especially with how this design in silhouette appears to be much more menacing and more adult-like than Toto was.
Well,
but, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, when I first watched it, like one of the first things I thought of was Gamera the Brave, but like the adult version we see in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That's what first came to my mind.
With the Advent Gamera?
Yeah.
It very well. Well, the other thing is that we are going to look at all the official Gamera designs overall. But the one thing I would say is that when it comes to the Advent Gamera, it's that, well, I can also put these images up here. It's that especially around the upper arm area, the Advent Gamera had more spiky bits around the front of the arms in comparison to what we see here in silhouette. And the other interesting thing here, though, is that it was this shot here of a different whole design in general, which looks really similar to the silhouetted design. And then this is what we see at the back shell on the sort of splash, almost newspaper-like image here from the Tamashii Nations little preview we had of it. But looking over here, we have all of like the main Gameras. So we've got the Showa Gamera, top left. And of course, there are variations between all of the original Gamera suits. Although a few of the suits got reused, there's so little variation between them, unlike with like some of the Showa Godzilla suits where there's very noticeable differences. So I'm essentially just keeping Showa Gamera its own small thing. Then there's the three main Heisei Gameras, Guardian, Legion, and then Iris, and along with Trauma Gamera off to the left right there, and then Advent Gamera, which is the first Gamera we see, and then Toto, which all the three Gameras at the end have green eyes. And I guess that's going to be something that's just going to carry on now, is that Gamera kind of has green eyes, sort of like how in some Godzilla designs we do see they always kind of has orangey eyes, which is kind of interesting because orange and green do have a really good complement for each other. So in a way, having those two kind of facing off like that is interesting, if not just a small nerdy color detail I have. But I'm going to talk about my favorite after years. out of these like official designs, Defender, which one would you say is your favorite? And sort of design wise, why is it your favorite?
Let's see. I haven't really had time to think about like what would be my favorite design. I would say like the first Heisei one.
Mm-hmm.
That one would be because personally, I kind of don't like when Gamera is actually like overly spiky or like edgy, like
Yeah.
he was in
Mm-hmm.
the Revenge of Iris movie.
Interesting.
I like him to be more
Softer.
softer edge. Like I
Yeah.
really like the first suit for the Heisei movie. I think that was like
Mm-hmm.
general design.
Yeah, like even well, I would say since he got progressively spikier as the trilogy kind of kept going. What would you say is like your? Why would you say you like the Guardian design over the Legion design? Because even though the Legion design is a little spinier, it's not as spiny as the 99 design. And sort of, is it just like you like Gamera super rounded, or is it sort of there's just elements of the Guardian design that you prefer more? You'd say.
I would say there are elements of the Guardian design that I do prefer more. Like
Hmm.
looking at like the head shape, some of the proportions. Some of it's a bit more streamlined than it was in Guardian, I think.
Yeah. Let me switch over to another screen right here because we'll go back to the show design in a second. But when we're looking at the Heisei design, the still has the spiny mohawk, although it's extremely small and his brows are much larger here. The arms as well as the legs are very large, along with the fact that they're very leathery too, and all the spikiness as we are talking about is completely gone. The shell, the largest point of the shell is right above where the arms are, and then it tapers off, which allows Gamera to stand up more on his two legs, as opposed to say the Heisei, not the Heisei, the Showa Gamera, where essentially is just a giant slab on his back, and there really is no top, like largest point that kind of bumps out, similar to how Godzilla's dorso points um, have the same kind of jutting off point towards the back. And in comparison, the second Gamera design we see here, the biggest point in comparison for the Guardian design, it's not as prominent. However, I do notice that Gamera gets progressively more hunched as the series went on, and along with the fact that he hunched over far more, his features obviously got far more angular, especially with the fact that now you're seeing the
Mm-hmm.
elbow claws. Not only are they fully visible, they now jut out more of the body. Whereas in the case of in Guardian of the Universe, they just sort of pop out, and even if they stayed popped out, they wouldn't come out as much as they do in the Legion design. And one thing I actually noticed when I was compiling these images, and I'm not sure if you ever noticed this, and once I get my spiel here, you can sort of give your thoughts between these two designs. But Gamera's his hands also became far more webbed as they went on, because if you're looking at the G2 design, the fingers don't have as much length to them. They're essentially just a giant sort of paw, whereas in the
Hmm.
Guardian design, his fingers are far more noticeable. But this was actually something that you never see with the feet. The feet are pretty similar, where he doesn't have two like long toes between any of the designs. But I'm gonna keep it right here on the Guardian design, and you sort of give your thoughts on that.
Huh. I'd say it's probably something that I subconsciously noticed, but like no one ever pointed it out to me.
Hmm.
Cause like yeah, I see it now, and like it's not like I didn't see it, but like it was never really like a pointed out thing to me.
Yeah, no, like it was probably something that never. It's something that I know and was never pointed out to me, and it's only by looking at it as I am now that I actually kind of really noticed that that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But between like the Guardian design, out of like what you see here, what do you like really like about it, outside of the fact that you like Gamera when he's more rounded?
Um, I like the head shape and like yeah, just like the head shape and how it looks. Comparing it to the other one where they got more progressively like narrow or like sunken in a bit in a way. And I just like I guess the overall proportions. I think they look good. I really like this one when it comes to proportions.
Mm-hmm. And between the fact that Gamera is also like he's far more hunched in later designs, is that something that also kind of just adds to the fact you like this design more, or does it not really matter all that much?
It's an interesting thing to see because I sometimes do like more hunch over aspects in kaiji designs.
Hmm.
But I actually really like how he is a little more upright here, just because it makes a little more sense. Maybe I don't know of seeing
Yeah.
him fight.
Well, I know one thing that's interesting is the fact that like when you think of turtles not on like two legs, they don't necessarily come off as hunched. I would actually say, in a lot of ways, how Gamera is in the Showa series is a little bit more accurate to turtles
Hmm.
in that sense, outside of like the obvious. But kind of going back to the Showa design, a lot of interesting things can be noted from its differences to Godzilla, especially with obviously the fact that it's a turtle, not a dinosaur. And it's the fact that it does carry over interesting details, like the fact that, like a lot of Ultraman monsters, he has 5 fingers, and this is something that actually carries over to later designs. And I know definitely when you have more fingers on your suits, it means the actors are able to grasp things a lot easier. And that's just a small detail. Same thing with like having far more toes than like any Godzilla design. And given the fact that Gamera spends a lot of time in the early movies on not just his back legs but also on the ground, there's a lot less definition in his legs, and at least the Showa series. Whereas in the Heisei series, that the bottom heaviness of Gamera is kind of more apparent. And this is also kind of seen with the fact that his tail is not exactly like big, but it's also stumpy. And then his shell too, which is also pretty cool as well. But also coming in, we got the potato.
Oh, crap! I don't have a picture. Hold on. Let me just
You're good, my
shocker.
man.
No, nah, it's gonna bug the hell out of me seeing it.
You're the pink man of the group. It looks like.
I don't. I don't mind pink, but like, uh, you know whatever. So what are we talking about now?
Doing gamer designs.
Oh,
But obviously, I assume you've already seen the thought, like you've seen the gamer trailer. What are your thoughts on it?
much like the everything I've seen for Godzilla, there's not enough to really give an opinion on.
Mm-hmm.
All I really notice is like at least from the promo pictures I've seen, is that like it feels like this camera is gonna be kind of have traits from yeah Heisei, unsurprisingly, but it looks like it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be bulkier with like the shell be a lot more pronounced. But
Yeah.
that's all. But that's all I could say. I have no clue what else to expect.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like, it's interesting because we are going to be looking at a maquette that probably might kind of influence everything when it comes to this design. But until we get to that, what is your thoughts like in terms of like what is your favorite Gamma design out of the lot? At least the official designs.
Is that even a question? It's obviously Gamma 3.
Oh, interesting. So this is we got two people who are on complete opposite sides of the spectrum here. We've got one person who loves that first design, and then another person who loves the last design. But going to the last design, we're gonna skip over Showa real quick. Um, what for you really makes you love the final Gamera design we saw from the Heisei series?
It's sort of hard to explain, but I think it's generally. Uh, I just, I just think it's just the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
I, I just look at this thing. This is the most satisfying because I actually have a figure of it right now, so I can
Mm.
actually have an actual full look at it. I just think it's the most fitting for what the tone it wants to go for, and it feels like I could take this thing seriously, like
Mm.
seriously, not like action like superhero serious.
So like more of like a grounded reality kind of serious, I guess you're thinking.
I'm sure that's the right wording,
Hmm.
since I'm not really wouldn't say it's grounded, but I would probably say it's more intense,
Okay.
like intimidating, imposing, has a presence to it.
Zack Snyder's Gamera.
Zack Snyder. That makes a lot of sense. Zack Snyder's game. I do like
Uh,
that.
I would consider more of an insult, but yeah, let's go with that.
Well, I mean, in the sense of very serious, but I mean, hey, think of it as like the 300 Gamera in that sense, because 300 was a good movie, at least that he made.
I don't want. I never watched that.
Really?
I never watched any of his stuff except for like Batman vs Superman. I thought it was terrible.
Here's the thing, ready? If you're gonna watch anything of his, watch at least 300. Don't worry about the second one. Just watch the first one. That was actually like, there's a lot of people may not like the other films, but that he's done. But I will say that is one film of his that I think a lot of people agree on as actually being like pretty good overall. But actually between the Heisei Gamera 3 Gamera and the second Gamera, between actually all three, how would you rank them? We'll start with Potato first, and then we'll go to Defender, and then there's gonna be someone else who is joining that we'll need to talk about.
To rank all the Gameras or just the first?
Just the Heisei ones, favorite to least favorite.
That's a tough one because I think they're all really good and work for what they're intended to do. But if I were to say, it's Gamera 3, Gamera 2, Gamera 1. And that's it. But like that's still a tough one because like they're all good.
Got you. And then for Defender, how would you rank them?
Let's see. I would think a Gamera 1 for top, and I think honestly Gamera 3 for second, and then Gamera 2 for last.
Interesting. Because I'm gonna have like a weird combination between you two, where I liked Gamera 3 the most for me out of these designs. Gamera 3, then Gamera 1, and then Gamera 2. I'm gonna scroll back to the second Gamera, and I'm gonna add the fourth person to the stream. It is the Adam, the creator of Godzilla Apex, the Scry himself. He's appeared from the dead after all these years. How's it going?
It's not been that long, has it?
It feels like it's been that long.
I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with what Godzilla Apex is.
Oh well, when we get done with the live stream, you should totally look it up. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Apex is his series that he's been working on his channel.
It's an animated Godzilla series.
And overall, outside of the fact that I hope you're doing well as always, Adam. Gamera, have you? I assume you've seen the trailer, right?
Of course.
And your thoughts?
Not a whole lot because they didn't give us a whole lot. You say you got like I made the comment in the chat earlier. You said it's a trailer, and I was like, that's not a trailer. That's a picture. That's a picture that they used in Windows Movie Maker.
Thank you. Someone gets it.
But
okay. I'm sorry. I have to diss you two real quick. I do not get why someone had to make a whole like video to just a PNG. I don't get it because like there's literally nothing else to say. It's a PNG.
Because I can tell you it's purely for marketing, right? They're
of
testing
course.
the waters to see how popular Gamera may or may not be.
No. I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to like just YouTubers in general, like just random.
Oh, you mean making a whole video out of a picture?
Yes.
That's
what I'm referring to.
YouTube monies.
Yeah, that's
in
welcome
the
to
game,
2022. This is the new YouTube. I don't know.
Well, what's it called? I mean, to make sure you actually keep things in the algorithm, yeah.
For
Like,
content.
literally.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. It's, Zim just said that it's been years. It actually hasn't been years, but it's been long enough that YouTube told me that if I don't put content out, I'm not going to get recommended.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get my content pushed out there, right? So I have to start making videos again, which is something that I wanted to do, but like it's I almost don't blame these other YouTube channels that are making worthless content, because if they're surviving off of it and it is paying their bills in 2022 when life is really difficult for a lot of people, they're trying to make that bread, dude. So I get why they're doing it. I blame YouTube more than I blame them.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. Like, I think the biggest issue we always have as creators, and especially as creators where this endeavor is their career, making these kinds of videos, it gets people to click on it, especially if you clickbait it really hard, and you can sort of do full on sort of baseless theories and speculations, and from there you just can kind of go off the rails and whatever happens, which is kind of why I literally did not want to just talk about the trailer. I just want to see like if anyone had hopes or anything in general, but we're also going to be looking back at the 2015 trailer that actually was more of a trailer than this was.
Oh yeah.
Because that at least had more to it. And
that was such a good fan trailer.
No, it wasn't. Well, it wasn't a fan trailer.
I know, but ultimately it did turn into a fan trailer.
Yeah. Well, no, what's interesting is there was something someone else told me that might indicate a few things.
Dude, wait,
in regards to things.
Dude, what if like this is that trailer?
Well, here's the thing.
Wild.
I will say that I think I can just reveal it now. Actually, someone told me that of course, if anyone was on like following Twitter, as it slowly breaks down and rebuilds, the
sorry,
Shusuke Kaneko, he had talked about the fact that he had wanted to do more Gamera stuff, and he was actually brought in just to look at a few things regarding the new Gamera anime. So at least from his perspective, it's recent, at least to the fact that any of us would know this, but clearly this was something that was being made behind the scenes for a while now, and Kaneko was brought in just to look at things, which essentially just means like, hey, you may not be doing anything, but could you like talk about it on your Twitter, give us a blessing, essentially part of the marketing. But that sort of tells me that maybe this is more connected than we thought, especially if it's concerning the older trailer. But before I make that connection more wholesale, we have a fifth person to the stream, and it is Takaichi.
Hello. Welcome.
Welcome, my man.
Many people.
I know, right? This is like the biggest stream I've had in a long time.
This is our end game.
Exactly. In this case, I will call the Captain America of the end game. In this case, at least.
Turtles.
Y'all can fight over who gets to be Thor.
Why do I want to be Thor? I want to be Hulk.
I mean, you can be Hulk, but that does mean someone. Who's gonna be the Thanos of this analogy then?
I'll do it. I'm used to being the bad
guy. No, it's gonna be YouTube. YouTube.
I guess Thanos. YouTube Thanos. So you just get slapped around by YouTube.
True.
Hopefully that's not the stream. I mean, we all get slapped around by YouTube, so that's actually kind of accurate.
Well,
wait, I saw that we were talking about Gamera designs like in the trilogy.
Yes.
Like a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say my favorite Gamera is 1999. I love that design. And I guess my ranking in order, it's in order of the films. Like my least favorite is Gamera 1 or whatever.
Oof.
And my second favorite would be, I guess, 96 and then 99.
Yeah.
Is my favorite.
Can you show the Legion Gamera again real quick?
Yeah, this one.
That's the show 90 or Guardian.
This is Guardian.
Yeah, okay. I honestly, well, that's I don't know. I have this thing about Gamera because I kind of grew up on the old Gameras too. At the same time I was growing up on Godzilla. And I like the Guardian version the best because, and of course, if you follow the story of the movie, the whole reason why he goes from looking like this to, the final one. What do you call that one? Iris Gamera?
Iris Gamera or just Gamera 3? Okay,
so Gamera 3. So it's because of him changing with his relationship in regards to us, the humans. And in this form, he is the most friendly to us. Whereas like if you watch the movies, in the first movie, He's the most friendly. He literally tries to destroy nothing. He pretty much goes everywhere avoiding destruction. By the time we get around part 2, after the thing's been crushed, right? He kind of is stopped. He's kind of at the point where he doesn't care as much, and he like completely doesn't mind that he's fighting in a city or on an airport or whatever. And then in the third one, he just straight up doesn't care. He's like, I gotta kill these gals. I don't care if I'm blowing up all the buildings.
Black Air Force.
Yeah,
Black Air Force energy.
Yeah, he's got that Black Air Force energy. But I
know literally, he also just got blacker as the series went on.
He did, and you know, like I like the idea of him changing. Which, you know, you're talking about like which design is your favorite. I don't see them as separate designs. I see them all as one design in the same way that Godzilla has Super Godzilla form. You know what I mean? These are more like forms. Like this is like this version is like Super Saiyan 2 Gamera. You know what I mean? But it's still Gamera. It's not.
These forms are dedicated to how edgy he wants to be.
Yeah.
The edgiest though is Nightmare Gamera. I hate Nightmare Gamera. I'm sorry.
Oh, really? I actually really like. I would say
it's not much.
I like Trauma Gamera more than
it
like
works
G2
for
Gamera.
the scene, but like I don't know. I feel like everyone is like, "Oh my god, Trauma Gamera is so cool." It's like it's not that cool. It's just normal Gamera with a bunch of.
I don't know. I think Tri Gamera is pretty neat.
The reason I actually like Trauma Gamera more than even G2 Gamera is the fact that it actually is a G2 suit, which is smaller editions on it. Yeah.
Where did that come from? Oh, that's from Toto.
Like
right?
No, that's from Ayane's Nightmare. Remember in Gamera 3, that's the suit they used to simulate what she saw during the events of Guardian of the
I'm not
Universe.
really a fan of it, and look at it now.
I really like this one.
It works for the scene. I just think it just looks like the one suit with just a bunch of random crap on it, and it's like okay, whatever.
It just looks like the normal suit, but like it's like been worn down for like in like a trash can somewhere.
Well, I mean, yeah, the suit also was. When did Legion came out in '96, right?
Not even scary.
Legion, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So the suit had been in like just there for 3 years at that point. Yeah, no, I just think that especially with the addition of the teeth and just sort of how wispy the shell looks with the added bits on it, I just like it better than G2 Gamera, and I like it less than 1 or 3. So that would be my thoughts on the design. Would I want it as like a mainstay design? No, but for what it is, I like it. And we actually would not get too much to talk about the show up design, and since obviously Takaju came in later, you could kind of give your thoughts.
Oh, okay. I like how I think it's cool. I haven't seen all the Showa Gamera movies. I've only seen a few. But I like how Showa Gamera actually is somewhat of a quadruped sometimes. I think that's kind of cool. That's it. I mean,
I do like that actually. I agree.
I mean, I've never really been. Oh, go ahead.
I don't have much to say about Showa Gamera that much. I don't really like the avocado, or not the avocado, the apricot shell.
You mean the pineapple shell?
Or yeah, that's better. I don't know. Showa Gamera isn't.
I mean, that's all that is, right? Is they just put the side of a pineapple on the back of this model and just painted it, right?
It literally does, yeah.
I'd have to look at like all the different Showa suits to see which one is like my actual favorite Showa suit.
There really isn't much variation.
Kind of just look all the same.
There really isn't much variation.
And I think, if I recall correctly, this is also me just bullshitting off the top of my head. I think there really only were 3 suits, and one of those suits was a modification of like the first or the second suit.
Yeah.
And then there was the one that was used for Super Monster that we barely see anything of.
Because that whole movie is stock footage.
Yeah.
It's all stock footage.
It's stock footage and then clips from anime.
That's funny.
I forgot that existed, honestly.
Yeah, no one remembers it. I think I'm like, I am one of people to remember that movie exists.
I still had to finish. I'm gonna binge the Gamera series because I haven't seen all the movies. I haven't seen.
Bro, it's not easy. It's
don't
not
know.
easy to beat.
They're at like a
I
good
have all of
portion
them
them
now
are.
with the.
Oh,
the
if you have
collection.
all of them, that's
I
No.
just
What
haven't watched
what
them.
what I'm saying is it's not. I'm not saying like it's hard
They're
to
painful.
come by them. It's painful to watch. Dude.
Oh.
These movies are hardcore, like geared towards kids. The dialogue, the acting, everything is just. Remember,
It's
you're
alright.
watching
I watched
Sesame Street.
Ultraman. I watched
yeah.
Ultraman.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say like, and the one thing I would say was that became a thing, especially with the later films.
Yeah.
Especially from
Yeah.
post like I was gonna say post Gauss, but I'd probably even be less trouble and say like
Was it-
post Baragon.
I was gonna say, it was Gamera, then Gamera versus Baragon, then Gamera versus Gauss, right? Or
Yep,
vice versa?
Gamera versus it was
Dude.
Invincible, Baragon, Gauss.
Yeah. After Gauss, that's when in my opinion, that's when the series really goes down the
I've
tube.
seen.
And then
I've
it goes
seen
virus.
I've seen
Do
the
you remember
original.
Heisei Baragon?
I've
From the
seen
manga?
Barugon, Gauss.
Yeah, does anyone
Yeah.
remember that? I still remember him.
Gurian or whatever.
He makes me sad because he's actually really cool.
It's a cool design, but like it also looks really weird. Even compared to like Iris and Legion, which look weird, it doesn't like fit, especially because it's also created by the Atlanteans. It just doesn't look like it fits with Gamera or Gauss either.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
Like I
don't
like the
think that's a
design,
bad
definitely.
thing.
No,
I don't
it's
think that's
like well, I the only reason why I say it's a bad thing, or I'm considering it a bad thing, is that like when like certain designs should usually kind of stick to a certain aesthetic unless there was like a direct reason as to why they would diverge. And from what we know about Heisei Baragon, it was a prototype between Gamera but after Gauss. But because it's between those two monsters, it should at least compare to one of the two, and it diverges off between both of them. Like the closest I would say it looks like would be like the Gamera skeletons.
I think
but
that might
like
be what we're trying to go for then.
maybe, but like from what I've seen and from what I've seen translated, it's never implied. But like I could definitely use that just for my own purposes, just to be like that is what allows the design to kind of mesh well with me. But the Advent design, literally I could not find a lot of good images that showed like every single bit of it. So this image here without like really stretching it out was the only way I could get it to look somewhat decent in the slide. Has anyone got any thoughts on this design, which I think is, in my opinion, the worst Gamera design?
Which one?
It's funny
The
that
Advent design.
Advent Gamera looks the most like a turtle.
Advent?
Wait, which
Advent
one's
was the one that's before. It's the one that's at the prologue of Gamera the Brave.
I really like Advent.
I
Is
thought
that
it was
the one? Is that the one next to Toto?
Yeah, it's the one
No,
before Toto.
the
Yeah.
old man? Yeah, I think he's just fine.
I do think he looks like, oh, I'm old though.
Yeah,
But,
he looks really
but-
old.
I think he
that's
looks.
the idea, and I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's weird though because I think he looks the most like a turtle because he actually has a beak. Every
Yeah.
other Gamera design has like a shark head except
Right.
for Toto and
I agree.
Advent.
I think it looks good because of the context of the scene. If like this Gamera who's old, tired, can't keep up with the constant threats, and so he said screw it and throws all of his gambles onto this one last trick.
I need to
He
see it in
literally
the
just
movie, though,
decided
'cause I
that he's
haven't-
gonna throw a plasma grenade on himself and just run into
I
the
haven't
enemy
seen Gamera
team.
the Brave yet.
Hey, it worked.
Hey, it worked. Yeah, true.
I have to see it in the movie.
But like, even in the scene, like he definitely looks old, but like his tusk weirdly just kind of jut out from his face. And almost when I've seen it, it always reminded me of like the Predator, because they almost look like they don't weirdly shape into his mouth right. And not to mention the other issues that both him and Toto have this issue, and it's the fact that neither of them have his roar, which also kind of just detracts from it overall.
With
And-
the Gamera roar?
Yeah, they weren't able to get the rights to the roar.
There's a right to the roar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound right.
And they had to use the stock Universal Monster Roar, which was used by the T-Rex from Unknown Island back in the day. So, or not Unknown Island, Land Unknown, which is it's really
honestly,
jarring.
I know that Gamera has like his trademark roar, kind of like Godzilla. But if they would have actually tried to make a new one for him, I would have been okay with this.
Oh no, I'm fine if you use a new roar. Like
right,
sort of like how 2014 does something with a roar that's similar but different.
right.
This roar is literally a stock roar.
Yeah, that's
You know what? Who needs a new roar? Godzilla, because I know we're talking about the turtle tonight, but I'm tired of the same roars being
Showa
used
roar?
over and over again. Yeah.
If you well, here's the thing. I don't mind you using an old roar. Just don't use the same shower roar, please.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man. But who cares about Godzilla? It's about the turtle tonight.
It's about the
Yeah.
turtle tonight.
I
sadly.
like the old Gamera look because, and I never I have to go back and watch this movie again because this, to be honest, the one with Toto in it, I actually seen like maybe once all the way through and fallen asleep through the rest of the times I tried to watch it again. But I really, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. If you I don't know if this movie is linked to the Heisei Gamera movies.
It's not.
But if you didn't know that, you could assume that it is. Like that old Gamera is that same Gamera from, because of the very similar like design of the spikiness and stuff, and the fact that like it is old, right? When you look at old people, their skin are sagging. You can see the definitions in their face, more especially if they're like not quote unquote fat, like, you know, they're like an old skinny person, well in shape still. You could see like their bone structure because the way their skin is fall, like the whole thing with his, that you were talking about with his teeth jutting out like that.
But it says tusk.
Or his tusks. I'm sorry, his
Yeah.
tusks. If you look at the rest of the designs, when he's younger, they're tucked in. When he's older, they're falling out because, you know, weight and gravity over time, you know? So I really actually admire the fact that they made Gamera look like this, even though it is kind of jarring compared to the rest and what we're used to. I really do think it's a fresh like approach to the fact that, you know, this is one of the things that I love about Gamera versus Godzilla. Godzilla usually looks the same and he has no real reason to change, but Gamera thematically, at least from the Heisei series, literally like grows up and changes and not evolves, so to speak, but he changes in his appearance and stuff. And the only time we've ever really seen that is in like Shin Godzilla to a degree.
Oh, good
Yeah.
lord.
So this is a closer look at that Gamera's
Yeah,
face.
look, I mean, look at his eyes. He looks like he's going blind, like a proper old person.
He just looks gnarly in the worst way possible. Although I will say I do like his shell.
That's
His
not
shell
the
is one of the
suit,
better things.
right? That
It's
doesn't
not the
look
suit, it's a model.
It's a model of the suit.
Skull,
Looks so
King
different.
Ghidorah or Brandon sent that to me so we can get a better reference of it.
like
But yeah, that's really, I like it. I think it's, I mean, it is jarring and it is very different, but that's one of the things that I like about it is that, I mean, I don't know why. I actually really admire Gamera almost as much as I admire Godzilla, in the sense that especially like with the Heisei series, they really surprised everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the story was consistent throughout all three films. They even brought back same characters, and it wasn't like, oh, let's, you know, this is going to be the last one. Oh wait, okay, this next one's going to be the last one. Oh wait, this next one's going to be the last one. Like, they knew that they were going to make a trilogy. They knew that that's how the story was going to unfold. Even if they don't admit it, like they didn't plan from it from the first movie, the way they set up the story was meant to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
And it
What do you
just,
mean?
I don't know.
Like,
Like,
didn't they want to make a fourth movie though?
they did.
Kaneko was open to making a fourth one, but it was only if he said, from what he said, it was if he made a certain amount of money, he would make a fourth one.
Yeah, it was like
However,
$1 million.
Yeah, $1 million yen or something. With that, I wonder if that's either him saying, "Hey guys, support the film," and then Dai would allow him to make a fourth movie, or only if it made a certain amount of money would he decide he would want to actually make a fourth movie.
I think the
But
former is
at
more
least the
believable.
last film was left open-ended enough to the point where a fourth movie could have been justified.
Mm.
I
I
like the
feel
open
like
ending.
the former is more believable than the latter.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I wouldn't really make sense for him to say, "Hey, support this movie," and I would think about making a fourth one.
I
It
would
doesn't
just
really
like to
sound
point.
right.
I would just like to point the finger to Michael Daughtry for doing the same crap on 2019. Just saying, just saying, Just say it. Let's just throw that out there.
I have no idea who you're talking about, but I will
The
agree
guy-
anyway.
The guy
Yeah.
who directed King of the Monsters,
Oh,
Mi-
Michael
Michael-
Dougherty?
Michael. Yeah, he did the same thing. I mean, he literally at almost every press conference was telling people to spend money, bring your friends, blah blah blah, like the same thing.
Mhm.
So,
I guess. I mean, to be fair, I mean, I remember at the time was like the contract ended was like they could only have like three Godzilla movies, and the IP just dies. So like it had to be
Be right back.
successful to convince Toho that it's worth letting these dumbasses do more movies.
Mm.
I don't know about that anymore. I
I wouldn't be surprised if things changed.
Well,
But,
I don't think it has to do with them trying to impress Toho to allow them to make more movies. I think there's a deeper conspiracy there, but I won't go into conspiracies.
I
that will be something we'd have to save
No.
for another time, especially because
I
that's
mean,
a rabbit hole.
I'll just put it this way though. Studio Ghibli has become a part of mainstream Western culture now, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Talking about.
They are making a Star Wars movie, so
Yep.
Ghibli
I'm
is.
just
Well, a Star Wars movie that doesn't suck. Let's go.
Honestly, I like right now. Not to go too off tangent. I
let's
do
go off
hope for the
tangent.
best with that. No, we're not going off tangent. We have a bunch of designs to go through. No. But we did not. We didn't get to go over Toto on his own. Of course, we talked about the Avid design. I will say, I do like Bebe Gamera. Bebe Gamera is nice.
Bebe Gamera.
Yeah, Bebe Gamera. He's a little baby. Just the face shape of this series as Gamera just works much better on Toto, and just moving away from the traditional darker grays to the
did not know
browns
that
here
was
with
a
lighter
figure.
oranges, I really like. Crickets.
I'm
what
looking.
is it?
I've never seen these pictures, so I'm just
Yeah.
like basking
ever?
in their glory.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
I
never,
never
seen
knew
these.
these even existed.
No, because like I'm
I remember this.
I'm like I'm a Gamera fan for sure.
Let's also remember the fact that Scry is old as hell.
Oh, go. Yeah, okay, whatever.
You can
I
swear
don't
on
know
the stream.
any
I
of
don't
you.
care.
Yeah, I
don't
know
know
I
any of you
could,
people.
but I'm not. I'm trying to refrain.
Fair enough. Actually, outside of myself, has anyone seen these before or no?
Mm-mm.
I've seen it. Wait, what are these again?
This was this is one of the old diecast figures back when Brave came out.
I recognize the
Yeah, I never
pictures from
seen
like a long time ago. I
Yeah.
just don't like. Yeah,
I thought that was okay. I thought that was.
Yeah, I've never seen these before in my life.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember a while ago. I really wanted to get this figure. I never was able to.
Yeah,
Right.
that looks like it would be like hard to find. If you do,
It's not
find
only
it,
hard to
gonna
find;
be
it
a
probably
fortune.
expensive too.
Maybe
Because I
we'll
think
get a
even back in the
Monster
day, it was like 70. This was like 74 or 60 something bucks back in the day. So it's gonna be like 150 or so. Now.
150 is a bit too conservative.
I'm
willing to bet,
being
like, 500.
conservative.
500 is more likely. At
Oh,
least 500.
yeah. Someone just like literally charging scalper prices for it.
Dude, I've seen like figures for like that one Cloverfield figure, and they go from like 800 to like 1,900.
Yeah, I know with that one specifically, didn't they only make like 100 or so, like 100 something?
I have no clue. All I
Why
know
are
is
there
that
no
they're
other
expensive as
Cloverfield
hell.
figures?
What was
And
that,
I'm poor.
Takaiju?
Sorry, I was just saying, why are there no other Cloverfield figures? Just no one has been like, oh yeah.
I
No
can
one
say
is
the same for
Cloverfield-
Muto.
Well, because Cloverfield never appealed to a mainstream audience that, like a general audience that would, especially of kids that would go out and buy the toys. That's why.
Yeah. Not
That's
to mention the
that's
fact
the
that like
biggest reason.
even people who might buy toys were all like, ooh, found footage, bad.
Yeah, like we like Cloverfield. General audiences don't really care for it. Let's
Mhm.
be real. We gotta be real.
It's I'll say my one general audience thing for the night, but general audiences will always complain about something and then wonder why it's never done again.
I don't know that they complained. They just didn't really care. I mean,
Well, no, some are apathetic, and then there are some that are that just are like, oh, this was bad, and then years later are like, oh, it'd be nice to see this again.
Hmm.
But that is my one general audience thing for the night. But maybe when I'm drunk over Thanksgiving, I'll do a stream doing that.
You know what I like about the Toto design and I guess Advent Gamera though? I like how they're like brown in color.
Yeah, the brown. Well, I like the fact that they're brown because it lets the orange really stand out more, especially on the shell, and the red on the chest.
Cool colors. That's all I'll say since I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, no, definitely. Sadly, Brave is like one of those weird ones where it doesn't usually come in the collections. Although I think you can buy it on YouTube. I know you can buy a lot of the movies on YouTube now. I know
you can
they're
buy
also
almost
free on
all of
YouTube
the
now.
Gamera movies on YouTube, but you can also find almost every single one of them, including Gamera the Brave, on archive.org.
Yeah.
On the archive website, and you can even download them too.
No, totally. I mean, that's what I do to a lot of stuff that I can't really get normally.
I had to go to archive.org to find Godzilla vs. Biollante in English and in Japanese.
Yeah, because that movie has rights issues just like 84, and they don't re-release these damn movies.
Right. It was hard. Same thing with 1985.
Literally, well, what's it called? Brandon's in the chat. I gave him an extra copy of Biollante on Blu-ray. I could have sold that for like a couple hundred if I really wanted to. Which it's sad that I could have done that.
I got Biollante for $80.
Nice.
Well, what's it called? Did you I assume you got it off like eBay or something, right?
No.
Ooh,
Oh, really?
go
I'm
back.
so happy I got Biollante when it was like $8.
Same, yeah. The same thing, yeah. I got what's it called? I got like an original copy, and then someone gave me a Christmas present. They included Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus and Monster on it, and I ended up giving Brandon the one that didn't have those movies on it because he still got more movies on the other one, so that's my win. But we're also gonna watch the old concept trailer because that's actually still on YouTube.
Turtle.
And I'm also gonna make sure I'm gonna fuddle around with the audio too because I know the audio can always be really bad on these. And thank you, Janer Padilla, for keeping us up.
Keeping it alive.
Exactly.
I can't believe they took it down, dude.
10 years ago was when this thing came out.
Was it really?
that
Oh my
long?
god, it was.
No, I think it was longer than that, honestly.
No, this came
Or
out in
shorter.
2016. This came out in
Was it?
2016.
Oh, yeah, it was
Damn.
2016, so it wasn't 10 years.
y'all quit trying to like rush time along, okay? I'm trying to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah,
Can
Scrap,
you
I'm sorry
slow
you're
down?
old and time
No.
is like a flat circle to you.
Can time not be a dick for 5 seconds? Whatever.
I thought about making something like this for an idea for a project that I have, like a little trailer like this. Just
2014
to get
is almost 10 years old. I don't like that. Godzilla. I mean.
Welcome to my world, dude. I grew up on the Heisei Godzillas. Like 1985 was I still remember when the internet first came out in 1994. AOL, you got mail. And I had found out
Wonderful dial-up.
That
I love this shot
they
right here.
made that they made like Godzilla versus Mothra, the one with Batra in it, Space Godzilla, all these from very small clips on websites that were like GIFs. And I would literally just watch them all the time until I found a website that could that would sell basically bootleg copies with subtitles. And I was able to buy, or I got my dad to get me for my birthday, Mechagodzilla 2, Space Godzilla, and Destroya. All like imported and everything. And dude, I wore out those VHS tapes. Man. Good times.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I remember the funny thing was one of my friends had a copy of Megalon, and I ended up burning his disc so I could get a copy of it. And I did not have an official copy of Megalon until the Criterion Collection.
That's funny. You know, one of the things I'm actually hoping for with this Gamera anime is a different Gamera story. I don't want Gamera, Guardian of the Universe, friend to all children. I want a new Gamera. I like the concept that they had where he was created by Atlanteans and all this kind of stuff. I love that concept, but I don't want him to be this. I don't want it to be focused around like kids, you know? I almost kind of want to see something like what they did with Singular Point, but not so sciencey.
I
Yeah.
don't want it to be like Godzilla.
Like if Godzilla is supposed to be like more science fiction-y, then Gamera should be more fantasy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I really like how this Gamera's like bottom half of the shell moves.
Well, it
Yeah,
wasn't just the
I-
bottom half of the shell. It looks like every single piece of his shell moves, so it's not like a giant piece. It's more like actual segments. Similar
I
to
really
actually
like
Gamera
that.
3 shell did that too.
I really like that in this Gamera.
Mhm.
I hope the monster arts actually has articulation on for those sections because
I know
the
that's
comedy
cool.
in this.
I know, like the third. No, I have the monster arts of the third Gamera, and it.
Oh, I
does
do
move
too.
really in all segment pieces.
I do too, and it's thank God they're coming out with a new one.
Oh, and here's
Uh,
the big reason why kind of sucked that this never became a thing. Was this? We're never gonna know what this thing is.
I hope this thing is in the new show.
I love that attack, dude.
That's a
That
cool
attack
power,
is so like not a beam or anything. It flashes and then some
Click.
distance away, boom.
I want
and it
new
like crushes the
monsters.
gravity around it.
Yeah.
I'm
So
fine
it's
with
like-
seeing a Gauss again, but I want new monsters.
I
Oh,
don't want to
yeah.
see old monsters. I really just want to see all new monsters.
Honestly, yeah, but
can't-
I'm pretty sure they're gonna bring back old ones.
I can't honestly think of Gamera without Gauss. I can think of Gamera
Yeah.
without all the other monsters, but Gauss is like Gamera
Ghidorah.
is Ghidorah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like
I feel like that's
don't know.
the. I want to say Ghidorah, because like Ghidorah is more like a Thanos type thing. Gauss
Well,
is more like
No,
I-
I don't
it's-
mean
it's less
mean
like in the
literal. I don't
thematic
mean
sense.
in power. I don't mean in power. I'm talking about like
Importance
Ghidorah
to his
is
story.
Godzilla's arch nemesis in
Yeah.
every version of Godzilla there ever was. There's no monster that causes more problems for Godzilla than Ghidorah, and Gauss has always been that for Gamera.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're like Gauss and Ghidorah on because they're not. Ghidorah would destroy Gauss left and right all day, but that's beside the point. It's just Gauss has always been Gamera's arch nemesis, and if they can tell a fresh story with keeping Gauss in it, he doesn't have to be the ultimate big bad, but Gauss has to. I just feel like Gauss has to be in it in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just like an old enemy that he fought and he's not even going to fight him in the series or whatever.
Yeah, like just a flashback or
I
something.
always
Yeah.
see Gauss as like a bunch of little like flies, and then like they're only like a threat when they're actually big.
Well, it's interesting because like he never started like that. It's like both him and Rodan have kind of gone down this road of being like singular strong monsters comparable to their main monster counterparts.
Mhm.
And then over the years, Gauss did it first, and it seemed like Rodan, especially with Singular Point, kind of piggybacked off this where they're
I
smaller.
feel like Gauss did it better. It feels
Yeah,
more
Gauss did do
fitting.
it
Yes,
better. I will
yes.
say that. Yeah.
It feels more
agree.
fitting when for Gauss, because like I'm not sure how to explain it, but like it's like the xenomorph. It feels like it just makes sense that there are tons of these things.
Yeah. Well, also like Rodan never comes off as like this kind of like. Gauss is almost like a flying rat on wings in a sense. Like he is more bat-like than like a pterosaur.
He's a
In
bird.
that
No, he's
sense.
not.
It's like he comes off as like a nasty, stinky, ravenous little mangy creature versus Rodan, where it makes more sense for Rodan to be kind of this more bigger, majestic flying creature by comparison.
I've always
Yeah.
looked at Gauss and
Mm.
compared them to like locusts.
Yeah, they essentially that is also a pretty good comparison too.
They've been like locusts, whereas Rodan was never portrayed as a character like that. He was always almost to a degree majestic. Even in the original Gamera movies, like there was two of them. They were big. It wasn't a whole bunch of them, but like, yeah, they did some damage and stuff. But ultimately, they were just animals trying to live, and we killed them.
Not to mention the fact that like the first time he fought Godzilla, it was a much more even back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
compared to even Gauss versus Gamera.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Rodan is the first monster ever to be able to pick Godzilla up off the ground.
No, yeah, he was also the, but yeah, he
No.
was the first one to pick him off the ground. He wasn't the first one to kind of throw him around. Unless you say like, unless we're gonna be actually technical and say King Kong did it first by throwing Godzilla over his shoulder, but
No, I
No.
wouldn't even say that. And Garrus got King Kong beat.
well, no, actually, Anguirus never actually took him off the ground. He kind of knocked him over, but like
Well,
not full
yeah.
on.
Let's not get caught up in the semantics. Over
Yeah, we're not
over
like that. We're being actually just for the sake of it. But the only reason why I brought that up, and one second, I just want to check to make sure we're actually still active. You know what? Wow, thank God. I didn't get taken down for that. I just want to thank the Academy first off. I gotta get my nuts slapped with a YouTube like no. But let me share
Oh, please, we're too
this.
small for YouTube to notice us.
Oh no, because they took down the last stream I did, and I appealed it, and it was Legendary who smacked my nuts off the internet for that stream.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Rip.
Toho, I appealed it with Toho, and Toho was like,
Stupid.
sure. It was Legendary that said no.
Legendary is.
That's
But this was a
retarded.
maquette of the 2016 Gamera.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
he's a lot fatter than I thought he was.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though, is that if you
Big.
look at the shell, especially the shell and the hands, with how they spine up like that, let me stop sharing that real quick, and
Not
let me
the
go
same
back
face,
to the
though,
first
definitely.
image.
The face
What'd you
is
say,
different.
Takaiju?
The face looks different, definitely.
The
though.
face looks different. Yeah, definitely. But like right here, I
Oh,
brought up
I
another shot here.
see.
Look at that.
I see.
I would
I
not be-
guarantee you the new design will just be like a somewhat retold version of the 2016 design, but just with maybe a little more simplified and with blue eyes.
Yeah.
Or greenish blue, whatever.
Yeah, like teal.
What if his eyes change color?
It'd
That'd
be
cool.
interesting to see if he does change color.
I mean,
Ed-
Godzilla's eyes kind of change. I mean, they glow whenever
They
he's
glow,
gonna-
yeah, with the beam
But
and stuff.
they're not always glowing. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe he could.
It's
they could-
possible.
Then again, 99 Gamera had green eyes, so
Well, yeah,
True.
99 Gamera, and that also was something that changed
feels
because
good.
Guardian it was pretty human-like, and same thing with G2 as G3 that gave him green, and that actually carried over into Avent and Toto. They both had green eyes too, so that kind of seems like something that they're gonna keep now is him having green eyes.
I don't really. How do I put this? I kind of wish they at least in this new one, they have Gamera be as acrobatic like he used to be.
Like,
Oh
I mean,
my
I wouldn't
God.
be surprised. Like, here's the thing: I wouldn't want him like doing gymnast stuff, but like using his flights to be maneuverable. I'd totally be down for that.
So if they don't make the monsters overly big like they did in the MonsterVerse, then I could actually be okay with him doing something where he's like in the city, he's flying, and a monster that he's fighting like ducks, like tries to dodge him behind a building, and he like stops flying and in midair sticks his hand out, grabs the side of a building and uses it to like do a
Spin
hard
around,
90-degree turn into the other monster. I think if they weren't big, if they weren't, 50 meters plus tall, then I would be okay with him doing stuff.
Well,
like
actually, how
I
big
don't
would
really
we
see
want
the
this
issue
camera
with
to
them
be?
with size.
I want, honestly, you know what I really want? I'm tired of all these super big monsters like the MonsterVerse has them out to be. I want to see some monsters like in the anime Ultraman series. I want them to come down to our size, like no bigger than like giraffes and elephants kind of thing.
I
And
feel
the-
like
I feel like that worked in Singular Point, but
It worked in Singular Point, but I would say like that's definitely pushing it for me. But like
Yeah.
if I want a maximum height, I don't want him bigger than the Heisei Gamera. Like I know that's gonna be the measuring stick essentially.
That's
for
like
everyone.
300 feet, right?
I'm super bad with conversions. I'm an English major, not a math man.
What's how many meters?
80 meters. 80 meters.
Yeah, okay, so that's okay, so it's not actually close to Heisei Godzilla. It's
No,
actually
he's
pretty
smaller
short.
than Heisei Godzilla.
Yeah.
He's bigger
Okay.
than Showa Godzilla, smaller than Heisei.
Well, to give a
Um,
reference, 50 meters is Showa Godzilla.
yeah.
Yeah, 50
So
meters is Showa
if he's
Godzilla.
80,
200, it's 262.467. So let's just say 260 feet.
so he's a little bit shorter than King Kong from the MonsterVerse.
No, Kong's bigger than him. I think Kong's like 90.
No, I
something.
said he's a little shorter than Kong.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm being an autist.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, no, like 80 meters is fine. I wouldn't mind him going back down to his shower height at 60 meters. But like I agree with Adam on this. I don't want them to be like monsterverse big. I think
Yeah.
that usually you can get better scenes with smaller monsters.
Well, you get a lot of cooler things that you can do when you have something Godzilla size. The monsters can't do what they were doing in like Pacific Rim and actually come through the buildings because they're just gonna knock over the building, right?
Well, the other thing is that also if you have monsters that are Showa monster size, the buildings are so much bigger at this point that they can do that.
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like
Mhm.
the smaller the monster is compared to the layout of the city, I don't know. It's just I mean it's a thing that I've been like experimenting with in my series. Like all like I know I'm using models from different versions of God, but in my mind, they're none of them are bigger than like 50 meters.
Yeah, like even for a lot of the stuff I'm doing with like my tabletop games and stuff, 20 like the main monster of the series is 25 meters in height, and usually like 50 meters is pretty big for these monsters. But like 25, 35 meters and 50 sometimes is like a height I like sticking with because it's still very big for a human. And Takagi himself can actually attest this because you got to see the cinema that Godzilla crashes in 54 and realizing how big even 50 meters is from the ground level still provides a really good sense of scale.
Yeah, it's horrifying. It's I looked at that theater and I was like, oh my god, that is huge. And then I realized that Monster vs. Godzilla is bigger, and I was like, no.
That's really too big, I think.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
think
like
it's too big. I just thought it was terrifying. Like
yeah, it's terrifying to think of how big he is, but then like also when you're trying to like write humans, that is where like the limit of where they can interact starts to really diminish.
Right. Right.
But we also came for fan-made designs, and I'm gonna be that man, and we're gonna start off with Vix first because I like sharing. So
I need to find mine. You're back.
you're good. Want to talk about the design process you did with your Gamera?
Oh, mine. Haha.
Yes.
Just asking before. Can you guys hear me good?
I can hear you perfect. You're good.
All right. I got a little. I'm hearing lag on my part, but if we're all good for now.
For a second, but you like audio quality wise, you're fine. It's just the fact that you were kind of lagging for a split second, but you're fine.
Okay.
And did he?
I guess I'll just start out with. Oh yeah, I'm just hearing some lag from you guys. Again, my connection.
I think it's probably
bad.
just maybe it might be the connection on your end, but no, go off, my man.
All right, so I guess first off, like I just wanted to do something a little different, and the first thing that came to mind was I wanted to see a Gamera with like a Matamata turtle head instead of like I guess what we usually see with Gamera designs. I thought changing up the shape would be pretty cool to see. And then, like I said beforehand, I like Gamera with like softer design aspects, and so I went with a more soft, rounder looking shell. And then I wanted it to juxtapose like a somewhat more edgier body design with the head and such. And then I just went with like a turtle green with it because that's what I usually do for turtles. And then I gave him like the red around the eyes to reference like red deer sliders because those are one of my favorite turtle species. And then
what's really interesting,
I give him like these
what was I gonna say was it's really interesting because you're like I wanted to show yours first, but you're not the only person who references a red deer slider in their designs, and you'll see it very clearly in another design. But keep going.
Yeah, I just give him like a large limbs because one thing that that's with me with Gamera is that I have a hard time making sense of his ability to fly and how it works like biomechanically. And Like
Just think
there
of him
was a
farting
time
out
where
of
I
every
thought,
appendage he has.
What'd you say, Adam?
yeah,
Just think about him farting out of every appendage he has. That's it.
I mean, it wasn't so much farting gas because that's not the part that like bothers me. It's just thinking biomechanically about having the limbs retract, and then they have this thing where it just shoots out flames. And so there was a time when designing this where I was like, I think I'm gonna take out his ability to fly, like pulling a Roland Emmerich. Um, but I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna try to figure it out like biomechanically how I'm gonna make it work. And I actually looked at the old anatomy drawings for like the show Gamera, and then yeah, I just made his arms big to fit I guess tubes that would run into a like I actually sketched out like some of his skeleton and like innards in separate layers when I drew this design digitally.
Yeah, no, I definitely I do like the proportion wise. It's probably my favorite aspect of design, along with the fact that I'm not sure if, well, because you designed it off a certain turtle species that has a head that looks like this is just the way you draw it. But every time I look at it, it almost looks like it has a Gauss head.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, and I got
like
that a lot.
it's ironic is the only thing I'll say about that. But
Yeah, I got that a lot when I posted like the work in progress.
oh,
Like
really?
everyone assumed, oh, I'm trying to reference Gauss, but like no, I'm trying to reference this certain turtle species that I really like.
It's ironic. Gauss referenced in the real world by real turtle. But
What Gauss reference?
what are thoughts? What are thoughts on this design? We'll start actually just right down the middle. So potato, then Adam, then to Kaiju.
Hmm?
Thoughts on the design?
I'm not really sure what to say. Cause like, I'm not really that big of a Gamera guy.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like the head feels a little out of place with the body. Cause like it's a lot more angular than the round body. It kind of gives us less of a, what's the word?
Uniform?
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's the word.
That definitely does. I can definitely see that. Especially because we can see that there's obviously detailing around the arms that suggest armor. Probably, especially with the elbow, kind of has a little bit of a spine there on the left arm. So maybe even angling those out a little bit more would kind of help bridge the gap between the more pointed head with the more rounded shell and arms and the like. If that makes sense. But Adam, thoughts?
Don't get mad at me, but this looks like Bowser's cousin.
Mm.
That's what it reminds me of. I do appreciate what you were trying to do with the more roundness. And I do appreciate what you were trying to do with the head. But it doesn't. I don't know. There's just for it.
Could it come down to the fact that because the art style is a little bit more cartoony too?
Maybe that's why
yeah,
why I'm having a hard time like looking past it and going, man, that looks like a Super Mario character. I just want to like jump on him and throw his shell.
What?
Yeah, I think I agree with him on that one.
But it's not first off, the artwork isn't bad. Especially
No.
like I can't do digital art at all. So it's really good in that aspect. And I appreciate what you were trying to do, and I really do like it, considering the fact that I was talking earlier about I really like the Guardian design of Gamera too. It's very simple. It's very not scary, kind of friendly-ish, a little bit more. Like it reminds me of the essence of what Gamera really is. And this, I mean, it could either be like Bowser's cousin or a new Pokemon. It's like,
Honestly.
I think it's because of the cartoony aspect of how you drew it that makes me feel that way. But it's not bad.
Honestly, considering there was that one Pokemon, it was like, it's not Croconaw. It's literally not Croconaw, but it's like it's cross something. It's from like Sword and Shield. It was a turtle Pokemon, Rock Water.
Mm.
Literally, this looks like if this is a better turtle Pokemon design. If we were saying this was a Pokemon design, then that design.
Right.
But like,
you should like knock on Nintendo's door.
no, like honestly, I think Kaiju aside, Vic, you should totally draw more Pokemon because your art style would definitely do really well with that. It would mesh well.
Well, I'm happy to hear that because like that is sort of like the style influence I go for when it comes to like my art.
Mission accomplished, bro. You did it because that's what you made me think. First thing when I saw it, I was like, man, did Mario miss this one or something? Like,
Adam wants to throw his balls at it.
oh man, no. I've seen what turtles can do to watermelons. Okay? I don't want to even think about what they could do to me. Anyway, to Koji, or I'm sorry, I totally messed up your name. Wow. To Kaiju.
Kaiju. Okay. I think the reference that like using one of those turtles like with the red on them. I know what they are. I've seen them. It was a cool idea, and I think that could create like a unique look for him. And also like it could like they do kind of have that like pointy like snout kind of look that Gamera has. So I think that was actually a really cool like choice to like use that as like a reference. This definitely looks more exaggerated and sharp, which I can see why people would think it looks like a Gauss kind of in the head, which I mean could work to its benefit, to be honest. But I guess the only thing really for me is that like I like the scratches on his shell and stuff.
The battle damage.
There's just elements of him, like his shell is very round, which I knew you were going for that, but like there's especially in the head, the claws, and I guess the spikes on the tail. I feel like using more triangular shapes in this design, like or maybe adding to like that to his shell would make it look more consistent. And also I just feel like it doesn't look like particularly that this would be able to like transform into like or like collapse his legs in his shell or in his head. Like it just doesn't look like it would be capable of doing that. And as for color, I like the eye. I like the red eye idea. I think that's kind of cool. Even though the turtle doesn't actually have it, from the images I'm looking at right now, it doesn't actually have it on its eyes specifically. It's more of like behind their eyes. I think you could still. That doesn't really matter. That's just like kind of a design thing. I think the eye thing is cool, but maybe honestly, I think this design would benefit with more of a darker green than the light green you chose, too. Because like, for one, it would make the red stand out more on the eye, and I think a lot of the values, from at least what I can tell from just the colors in general, look like if you put them in grayscale, they would probably just be the same. Like it would just be the same tone of gray, and I feel like that would help at least color wise if you like made the green darker or something. And then for the brown shell, I feel like
should have wore his red shell. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I feel like the brown. I feel like the brown could be more, or I don't know. I feel like it might. I'm thinking like just looking at this turtle, they kind of have more of a. They don't really have a brown shell. They have more of like a. They have some brown in it, but it's not like entirely brown. I would say it almost looks black in some pictures, or like a really really dark green. So I personally wouldn't have used brown for the shell, but that's all I really have to say about it. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. And I'm gonna skip down. Next one. This is the one I designed. Kind of finished it earlier in the day. So, as you can tell, there's a lot of G3 influence.
It's a lot
color
of Jurassic
is
Park influence too.
Interestingly enough, I did not use any JP influence.
What about that face? That's a long T-Rex snout, bro.
No, because here's the thing, ready? Is that a T-Rex snout, it would come down, up, this. With this,
That
wanted
just
to
sounds like
keep it
semantics to me.
literally. I will show you a T-Rex skull, and we can compare the two. I have no problem doing
That's a
that.
dinosaur skull, my man.
Oh no, it's definitely a dinosaur skull, definitely, because I didn't
Okay.
want to do a beak.
Oh,
Because
okay,
like none of the Gamera, I don't really like average Gamera's beaker face, so I literally wanted to have him more of a reptilian dinosaur-y head. With the green eyes, apparently keep coming over from G3. I wanted to keep that. The mohawk kind of stays the same, although I wanted to add spikes to the back of the head. The shell, it's essentially a combination of G1 with a little bit of spininess of the newer shell with the tail. I mean, well, going down to the tail, I think one thing is actually because I compare this with my Godzilla design. I think I like Gamera having a shorter tail. Because turtles don't normally have super long tails in most cases, so having it like this, in my opinion, just helps him differentiate him as his own monster. And both with the arms and the legs, in case I wanted to have him go on all fours, he's still gonna be mostly bipedal, but I wanted there to still be more of a ponderous aspect to him. The plastrons underneath are a counter shaded light Timberwolf gray versus the black on the shell. And similar to how Gamera has elbow spikes, I just want to have spines all the way up the arm. So essentially you can backhand someone if he really needs to. And there was one design, well, the new design also has super long claws, and that's something I really liked. So adding those was something I really wanted to have as well on my design. And sort of just comparing it to a Godzilla design I've done in the past, where Godzilla has more thinner legs, Gamera has more bigger legs, shorter tail, longer tail.
I don't like that.
The spines kind of help distinguish him here with more of a hump. The shell is less pronounced and also helps with the body profile. Longer, thinner arms with more stumpier arms, and of course, different details to differentiate the heads. But that was the Gamera design I did, and we'll start with Taikaiju up, and we'll go up to Defender.
Okay. I actually like the body of the Gamera, but I don't really like the head that much. Actually, one trait of Gamera 1999 or whatever Gamera it is, I really like is that he has like multiple. He doesn't have like 5 fingers. He has like 6, I think, from memory. Like
well, actually, we can just check. Let me just.
He has like. Wait, I'm looking at my XSplit. Yeah, he has like 6 fingers, and like the pinky is like all the way at his arm almost. It's weird, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, we can see it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, there's like a tiny little like.
Yeah, there's like a mini one.
Residual like thing, like, and I think that's cool. It makes them look weird. But I do think maybe the snout of this head could be a little shorter, because I do think it does look dinosaur-like. I mean, that was kind of everyone's first thought, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the 2 tusks, like on each side. I think that's cool. I think the head the snout could be a bit shorter, just so it looks more turtle-like. But I think even more so, I think the head should be smaller. I think the head is too big. Also, I don't think he could fit his head in his shell.
Yeah, one thing I thought about was if I was gonna make the proportions the way they were, the thought process was essentially that since the shell could move in G3 independently, essentially to accommodate for these large proportions, the shell could essentially expand and then compress if need be, which is how he does this shell cutter and stuff in the movie.
I don't think he needs the spines on his neck, because I feel like if he were to tuck his head in, they would literally just snap off. And the ones on the arms are fine. And the colors I don't have a problem with. It's pretty solid color choice. I know it's like color pencils, but I can tell what you're going for with it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Adam, you're next.
So I kind of agree with Takai. You said I don't necessarily. There's not a whole lot about the design. Well, there's some big things, but there's just a few big things. One, the head's fine. Just make it smaller. It's out of proportion with the rest of the body. That's like the first big thing. The second one is, why is his shell so small? Like, how is he supposed to fly? How does he even get his body in that shell to protect himself?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Like,
I didn't even think of that.
It's like his shell's almost like an afterthought. And if you go back and you look at some of the traditional Gamera designs from the movies and stuff, his shell's pretty big.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
The issue I ran into when I was just doing this earlier before the stream, it was that, especially with like you really see it with the 99 design.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the G2, although even with this one,
Mm-hmm.
it was like trying to not have his tail be super long, because even thinking of it contracting there was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And one thing I really wanted to steer away from was the fact that the Showa one has a really big shell,
Mm-hmm.
and it just, especially with how it overlaps over his neck, I never liked how that looked.
Mm.
But that was kind of the things I was thinking about. And like I said, with how I imagine the shell could essentially, it's made up of these smaller pieces that can expand and then contract.
No.
That's why I was thinking that I could make the shell bigger if I really needed to, or essentially it can compress to essentially be more dense, if that makes sense.
I can see that. But I mean, I'm just, this is my critique, right?
No, you're good.
But and then I'm not saying it's not necessarily a bad design, just the proportion of the head, the lack of the shell, and how the hell does he fly?
In terms
Farts,
of
but because like it all kind of goes back to the shell being so small. Like the design, I like the bulkiness of the design because turtles in general are bulky. They're not slim. They're not agile creatures. And I think I like that aspect. I like the fact that you did make, because that was something else I was thinking about too. They got to quit making Gamera's tail so damn long, because there ain't no turtle in the world that have that kind of long of a tail.
Yeah, snapping turtles do have long tails, but like they're not thick tails. They're usually long but pretty spindly.
Right.
It's like I didn't really like that. And that's why I wanted the tail to be small. And that's the other thing, is that it helps differentiate him from Godzilla, is the fact that his tail is like, having a smaller tail helps break up the silhouette more.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking is that outside of the saucer form was always going to be an issue with me, but I was thinking that with the 2016 design, it has jets on the back of its shell, which I could probably bring up again for us to see. But I was thinking of a similar thing where the thrusters are inside the pieces of the shell, so they can propel himself forward like that, or kind of move his shell over to the sides to sort of work like Spartan 5 thrusters. For him to sort of move quicker, because he's gonna be a slow ass boy anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I really do like the fact that you made him thick. You made him a thick turtle because he's.
You like the pogs, Adam?
I like the thickness of the turtle, and you know, when I see this one, even though he's thick, the thing about his body being the way it is he can really throw his body into a fight, whereas traditionally speaking, there's not a whole lot. Like, even when you go back and you watch him when he's fighting Legion or whatever, there's not a whole lot of like monster martial arts going on. So
yeah,
you know.
Well, that was the other reason why I made his head bigger, was because I really wanted him to be able to bite too.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because every time I look up things that have turtles in them or whatever, like the thing that you're scared of the most on a turtle is their mouth.
It's either their mouth or them just bringing that shell forward and just ramming it into you.
Yeah, but most turtles don't do that. They don't even try to move that fast.
Some do, some don't. But yeah, no, I really the thing was that I wanted the head to be pretty big so that I could have a really good strong bite to him, especially with his tusk too.
I just think if you can keep that size of the head, you got to just make the body bigger.
But then the thing I was running into was that I scrapped another design where essentially the proportions were the same. It was just when his body was bigger, he came off a little too fat, which
it's fine. He's a turtle. Turtle.
Well, no, obviously I don't want some like God of War Ragnarok looking Gamera.
I
I will
wanna see
never,
that.
I will never, ever like that Thor design. And I don't want that to be the bane of my Gamera.
Which
But
Thor?
the
God of War
Thor from God
Ragnarok,
of War Ragnarok.
What's
the
wrong?
new
What's
one.
wrong? What's wrong?
He's got a really big beer gut to emphasize the fact that he wastes his time drinking mead all the time in the game.
Yeah. Well, the issue is,
Wouldn't you?
the reason I have an issue with that is because
Chris
Well,
Hemsworth just ruined it for him.
no, not even that. It's just like historically, if you look at Thor in the Eddas,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're
just
talking
how
about
he acts
Thor.
in the game is so much different. Like even like, of course,
Well, they did
Kratos
that
isn't
with-
even in Norse mythology, but I would say this: the Greek games did better of combining the myths with their original stories, and the
Okay,
characters
well,
were more
Okay,
intact.
well, let me say this about Thor. Consider the fact that he's supposed to be the god of strength, right? And what will make sense about strength? Lifting. So they're gonna. Why not make him the body plan of a guy who lifts things?
Yeah.
Also, it just makes it feel like so watching him get a whole ass axe into his gut feels
Yeah.
less like, oh, he's just a big unit. He can eat a fucking axe to the gut like
Well, here's the
nothing.
thing: is that like you could do that, like make him make him look more like the Mountain from Game of Thrones. Like that dude's also like
He
Norwegian.
was
so-
though. He
No,
was.
it was a different person.
No. What I'm saying is the proportion thing. He was. He's the biggest character.
No, he is
in
the
the
biggest
cast.
character. But no, I'm saying like less fat, just more built.
I mean, yeah. Okay, I guess.
Like we can do a
It's-
compare by compare by the stream, but like that's one issue I have with that game
I think-
outside of other issues I
Well,
have.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I could
I
understand
think
that.
Thor looks great.
In like it like is the model good? Yes.
I think the way he looks in that game fits his character in that game.
Yeah, and his character's another issue I have problems with. Him and Odin. And
Well-
Heimdall too, actually.
Again, you have Kratos giving birth to Loki, which is not how this.
Yeah, that's also another thing I don't like
Like-
either.
Like,
But we're going way off topic. But and we
For
still
what
need
it's
Pition and
worth.
Defender to go through.
last thing I'm going to say on that God
Yeah.
of War Ragnarok. For what it's worth, I actually loved the Ragnarok and the game, the prequel to it. The story is fantastic. It has
Yeah.
no basis in reality. The only thing that they were pulling from actual myth and stuff were the names and the characters and the locations. But the actual story of how Ragnarok goes down is, we all know that that's not how it goes down. Because Kratos ain't in it.
Mm.
That's the first part. Kratos just ain't in it. But anyway,
Turtles.
Quails. Potato. Your thoughts?
I think I agree with most of the sentiment about it. I don't really like the big head. It feels a bit too big for the general body plan. I think I like the idea where you're gonna go for the arms with like the big claws and stuff, but at the same time I feel like the hands are a bit too, not enough finger because like it just looks like how do you grab things?
Mm.
well, I appreciate that because most turtles, their hands, claws, hooves, whatever you want to call them, they don't have fingers. They're
Not
just-
to
Yeah, but,
mention,
like, this
with
is a
Gamera's
kaiju.
3 and 2, he kind of kept on losing his fingers as the movies went on too.
facts.
Yeah. But like I feel like if you're like a kaiju, it'll make sense for him to have hands that like at least use something with. But
Mm.
besides that, I do. I mean, I think the shell's fine, though. I feel like taking a lot from Gamera 3 can be considered a con in my opinion,
Mm.
because everyone talks about the Gamera trilogy. That's it. No one ever talks about him besides that trilogy. And I personally, after a while, it either feels like the trilogy's overrated.
Hey, say Godzilla. Anyway, yeah.
I mean,
That's a dead horse and a half. But continue.
I don't care what you young kids say. Hey, say Godzilla is always going to be Godzilla to me.
I'm talking about Gamera, but
Hey, say Gamera is always going to be Gamera to me.
Sorry, that was just my daily I need to hate on Hey Say Godzilla. Go on.
You get on your own potato?
yeah, I think that's about everything I could say.
Okay, gotcha. Defender, your turn.
All right. I guess I would say I like it. I do like it overall. One thing I wouldn't like about it is like it's overall like like a very stylized like Gamera 3.
Hmm.
But from what I see of the stylization is like really good. I do like the shell. I feel like with everyone mentioning like how the biomechanics would work of him fitting in the shell, and then your explanations too, I really like. I feel like some proportion switch ups would be nice to fix some of the, I guess, questionable biomechanics of it. Because I ran into those problems too, and I tried to um, work them into my own design. But here I overall like how it looks. I love the head and the design of the head. I like the more dinosaur style look to him. And then I like the details in the body and how you drew everything.
You know what?
No, what were you?
Okay.
No, got him.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Don't worry.
No, is Defender done? I didn't
Might
wanna
be a
do
lag
that.
issue. Are you good, Defender, or were you gonna say something else?
I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good. I'm done.
Your design would actually work if you made the throat loose and like if you take where the bottom part of his jaw starts to come up and make that jawline right there.
Here.
No, go back where you had it. From there, if you were to draw like a line from there to there and then make that piece of the neck that you have below that actually kind of like fall forward even more, make
Like
it
a
more.
dewlap?
Yeah, because then first off, we don't have a Gamera that ever has that, and then secondly, since you're emphasizing more of the head, it would make a little bit more sense that he has a throat that can also kind of expand and contract in that kind
I
of
was
way.
thinking about doing a dewlap, but then I
Mm.
remember there's so many monsters I design already that had dewlaps.
No.
So I was like, no.
Oh, you missed a golden opportunity here,
I
my
know.
friend.
It was literally like, yo, it's this Zim staple to have a dewlap on your monster.
Yeah,
And then I was like,
yes.
no.
Yeah, if you did that with this particular design, I think it would make the head and the neck area less bulky, and it make it look more symmetrically, like make more sense symmetrically. God, I can't make more sense symmetrically is what I'm trying to say.
You're good. Don't worry.
Anyway, that was a random thought popped into my head.
Yeah, no. Defender, one thing, not Defender, Takaiji, one thing you should appreciate me for is I actually didn't give Gamera 2 toes and like one in the back like I always do for all my monsters.
Yeah.
I did it. I did a monster without doing
added
that. But yeah, no, I do appreciate the feedback on that one there. And then we got a bunch of designs, and then there's also two
my
more
God.
Takaijis and someone else's that are on Discord that I'm gonna share outside of this because they were sent a little later.
How long you plan on streaming for?
Probably for like another what's it called? Probably like an hour and like a half. Because literally if we stop now, this would be like a really, really short stream for us.
Wait, is that
You've been going for like almost 90 minutes now, right?
An hour and 38 minutes right now.
we went for
Okay.
like 6 hours once?
We've gone super long. Yeah.
Oh,
Again,
wow.
Adam, it's been a while.
Yeah, I don't know if I can go that long. I
I don't
mean,
think I
I'll
will
stick
either.
around as far as I can, but like I'm normally
Yeah,
in bed
same.
right now.
Yeah, no.
do
What's it
have
called? We'll
stuff
try to
to do.
lightning round these as much as possible.
Yeah.
But we'll start. So this was one this is
Ooh.
Gamer Design. This is done by Gaviran. He's the guy who did the Daikaiju Daikasen game series, or just game really. And one thing I do like about it is the body's very, very Heisei. I think we can all agree on that.
Mm.
The biggest detail is in the head, which really combines the Gamera head with a more turtle beak, and I think in a way that's better than the Advent Gamera and Toto, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sorry. That design looks like my Godzilla Apex design.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the modeler who made my custom Godzilla, I don't know if you've seen it yet. He's got a beak. It looks very similar. You take out the tusk, that's what my Godzilla Apex.
Just the head, I assume, probably, right? Or
Yeah,
proportion.
just the
Okay.
head.
You're gonna have to send me that. But obviously, since you're the first one to speak up, Adam, thoughts?
I think the art is freaking great.
Mhm.
But I also I think the art's great, but I don't outside of the design of the head, I don't think there's anything special about it. It reminds me of the Heisei Gamera or even the 2016, which probably inspired some of the design. The coloration's fine. I mean, it all like aesthetically, it all flows. He looks like a lot more like grayish, lizardy colored skin and stuff.
I think
But
if you ask, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say that it feels a lot like a lot of the same of what we've seen before,
Mm-hmm.
instead of being its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of feels less, I don't know, intriguing and kind of. No, I'm not sure to say bland, but
I mean, if you were to pull up a picture of an older Gamera design next to it outside of the Showa designs, I mean, yeah, look, it's really not that different.
yeah. So that's
Especially
why.
like going from this to this.
Yeah. I mean, again, the thing that for me that stands out with this design, the only thing that really stands out to me is the face or the head design, which I really appreciate actually, but it looks the rest of it. I mean, if you were to take the head of any of those Heisei versions of Gamera and put it on this picture, did that come from the movie?
I feel like that's going to be a trend with a lot of Gamera designs we look at tonight because, like, whenever I look at a Gamera redesign for the little that I've seen, I just feel like they always like it. It's always just like, oh, yep, that's Gamera or that's Heisei Gamera or whatever. Like they don't really do anything different, and I think that's also just because unlike Godzilla, there's not a huge ton of variation of Gamera designs, so people just like look at the, like
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think I
spot their
agree.
ones.
I will also say this too. The more we go on with these designs, the last two are super uncanny and really out there in terms of designs. But I did try to start with more conventional, as close to Heisei as possible designs outside of the designs that me and Vic did.
I do like the head though. That's my thought. I think the head is cool. It's kind of cool how they gave it. Well, it looks like they gave it kind of a Showa-looking shell, which is interesting, I guess. But like, even though I'm not particularly a huge fan of that, but I like the head. But for the most part, it looks, it's like, it's nothing incredibly special. But the art's good.
And anyone else want to give any more thoughts before we move to the next design?
I actually really like the head. It's my favorite aspect about this design. And then I see some problems of like it's more or less like a retooling or like of just like Gamera, and like mostly of these look like just like Gamera 3 retoolings, I would say.
Yeah, I feel that's what it always feels like whenever I do see a redesign of Gamera. It's like slight modifications that don't overall change the design. But that's just from what I've seen. I haven't seen a lot of redesigns of Gamera.
Yeah, like even this one too.
Yeah,
This
same
one
stance, same every like.
I don't like that.
The one thing I would like the one thing that really mixes up was the spines, which I remember I'd seen this design a while ago, and that's what I used for mine with my spines. And
I don't like
the
how
colors
skinny
really
the
different.
limbs are.
It's very Showa-like with how skinny the limbs are.
I don't like how and the long tail. I feel like the limbs make it feel less bulky and strong, especially the legs. Like I can't help but feel like it's weak and frail.
Yeah, it looks like a turtle that hasn't been fed in like months.
I think that might help it. That design might help it be mobile, be more believably mobile, but at the same time, it makes it less imposing.
It's also weirder that like the head is like the limbs are super skinny, but then the head and neck are like thicker, and just kind of like Gamma 3 head, and it's just I don't I don't really have much thoughts other than this thing is way too skinny. It looks like it would collapse under its own weight because of
I
Or
its
just
really
fall
like
on
the
its back.
color scheme.
Yeah, the color scheme I do like, especially with the red accent, really help it.
Yeah.
I guess.
And we got the next one here, which is just a really stylized design, but it also really takes after Gamera 3 as well. Like I would say the best thing this just reminds me of is like Gorilla's art style Gamera.
Reminds me of Bemular, the head.
In a way, yeah, but Bemular also has a much more flattened head too.
Yeah, I mean, just spikes all over the head though. It's like, I don't know.
Also gives him kind of a deep sea fish vibe too, especially with the throat and the chin spines there too.
I really like this style.
Yeah, no, the style I love. It has that early like edgy 2000 comics art style, which is cool.
I think that's what carries it.
like
Carries that
you.
image for me.
I think someone had a mic issue. They were gonna say something. I think that was Vic. I think that was you.
Yeah, I think this art style is what carries it for me, because like
Yeah.
I mean it's just Heisei Gamera, but like it has this really cool like I'm not sure how to describe it in like punkish style that I think
Yeah,
is really
That's
nice.
well. I mean, Gorillas. I think they
Gamera.
do like punk. I think that's what their music would be. So yeah, it is a very punk style Gamera.
I like the colors.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
The green mixed with like a violety
The
indigo.
black shell or the bluish black shell. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts? I don't think you had said anything on the design.
It's good.
Do 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 do.
Yeah. I mean, it's super stylized and super bulky, and I like the fact that he's almost having to walk on 4 legs. I'm not sure about the tail with the how I feel about the tail with the shelly scales on the back of it, but outside of that, that's all right. You know, it's like a nightmare Gamera kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it does carry that Trauma Gamera influence a bit too. Yeah. And then actually, next person, it's gonna be Brandon's design, which he had a few designs he'd done earlier a while ago, and the one on the right, it was the newest one he did, and these were all sketches he was doing in preparation for the design that's gonna come after, which is very Showa influenced. But here you can kind of see what he was going for with a few different ideas.
Interesting. One thing I was going to mention about Gamera designs in general, honestly, like even like the official ones, is more so Showa, to be honest, is that I never really liked how Showa Gamera is like a pancake. I mean, I know there are turtles that like are flatter, which I see what influences they kind of took with this design, which it actually kind of
Yeah, like soft shell turtles.
yeah.
Well, for the he did tell me that like a soft shell turtle was going to be the color scheme for at least the one on the right. And it's been a while since I had seen the other concepts or if they had colors, but the reason I showed all of them was just sort of because of the very differences, especially with like the heads and the shells that he showed off. Because like between them all, I really like the newest one he showed on the right, but I also really like the naturalistic turtle head that's on the far left. Like that's the only example I can.
I
think
like that
of
one a
Gamera
lot.
with a really turtly beak that I'll actually get behind.
I really like that head. That head's really cool. I think the other heads are unique though.
Yeah, they're all unique. Definitely.
I like it. It's pretty cool.
And actually, this is something that's going to appear in another design, and it's the shell that's on the top left where it's got fins on the side, but not like they don't all have fins on them.
Mhm.
Anyone got thoughts on that, especially with like the asymmetry of it, but it's symmetrical bilaterally.
I don't see. I mean, I don't really see its purpose entirely. I mean, I guess like if it's supposed to aid with, I feel like it'd be different if it was trying to aid it with flight, like aid the turtle with flight. I don't know.
The problem is to do a correct Gamera design that makes sense and is visually appealing. You have to really take into consideration all of his abilities, which even though these designs look, or the head parts of the designs look fine, the shell and the body parts don't jive well with me because
I agree.
he's got to fly. He's got to fly, and he doesn't even look like a disc. He looks like a plate.
No one, yeah, I agree. I feel like no one takes into account whenever I see Gamera designs, like they always make him like organic, and it's like, okay, but technically
He's not.
he's a cyborg in a way because he
Yeah.
can like do all this like all these things.
Floopy doopy magic shit.
I haven't really gone too detailed in my own design, which I guess we'll see later. But like there's aspects that I want to like include eventually when I eventually get around to actually working more on a Gamera design that are more like that dived into like how he actually functions in a way.
I think, wait, do you have a moon cafe? Is that how you pronounce it?
A what?
Is one of the arts here of from a moon cafe? Is that how you pronounce it? That it was that one artist who had like a while ago had like a thing, joined forces with Matt Frank to do some Gamera redesigns.
No, I did no. Brandon, this is just Brandon's on DeviantArt. No, I don't think I had buddy on here who had done stuff with Matt Frank, to my knowledge, at least.
I was asking about like if you have that person's artwork here, since I think that would be really interesting to talk about.
If we see it,
I
point
already
it out to
found
me.
Somebody dying in the background.
This is
Vic is getting hunted down.
Yeah, just my
yeah,
brother.
no. Send it send it via Discord, and I can see if I've seen it before. But what's it called?
Frank's Gamera is actually kind of cool.
And then obviously this design here is very, very Showa influenced. With
Is it?
Yeah, especially with the shell. Although it also has Heisei influences too, which I really liked. It's a nice combination between those two styles, and it does things with show elements that actually are bearable, in my opinion.
I just don't agree with the shell.
Like, at least it doesn't look like a pineapple now, which I really like.
The pineapple doesn't matter. It's the size of the shell.
Is it because it's not going to be able to just go right into it?
Right. Like every turtle, if that's the problem. This is why I like the big shell bulky designs of Gamera, because turtles have big bulky shells that their body can fit into. And even like that's one of the things that I hate about the Showa design is he looks like a plate.
Pancake.
Yeah, he looks like a pancake. He doesn't look like a turtle at all, or especially when he goes inside of a shell. It's like it's just not the back end needs to be raised up. You know, the cornucopia of the shell, I guess you could call it, needs to be a lot more. What's the word? Exaggerated, I guess. You know, like it's like, okay, look at his leg, for example, right? Look at his leg and how it kind of attaches to the tail. It doesn't actually go. It like there's nothing that is separating all the appendages. Most turtle, their shells are separating their appendages, right? And most of these Gamera designs so far, they don't do that. It's like I'm having my biggest issue is they're just not getting the proportions right, or they're not. My biggest issue with most of these designs is the shell. Is the shell.
What's interesting is that going to the next one here.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at that one. I agree with this one.
Well, the issue is that it doesn't even look like he's going to go into the shell. It just looks like his arms and his legs would be out. And then you have the jets right there. So essentially he'd be like curling up underneath.
Well, this kind of okay, so what you were talking about with your design and how his shell could contract and all that kind of stuff, that idea makes more sense with this design because they may not actually be connecting like that, but if his arms were to go up into his body, it could allow the front and the back of the shell to get closer to contract and actually make it look like he's tucking himself away.
The issue I also have is
I
though
don't
is
like
that when
this
you look at this,
Mhm.
it's the fact that there is no segmentation at all with the design here.
What do you
Because
mean?
when I was thinking with my idea with the shell separating was that like this would be its own piece. These would all be their own pieces that could then move out and in if need be. Even if he like pushed his arms up here, it literally would just be a solid mass right here, which would work. But then also he has a super long tail, which is
I don't agree with that
it's
one.
gonna be weird.
This
Okay.
is wonderful art.
Yeah, the art's
but
good.
I just this just feels like the safest Gamera design ever.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't it doesn't one we already talked about mechanic. It doesn't look like it can do anything. Like it can't like tuck itself in and then fly. Like I can see that there's the vents, I guess, in a shell, but like
Mhm.
whatever. And then it's literally just honestly the head's kind of cool, but it kind of just has a snapping turtle head.
It's
Yeah.
And then
very
just with
snapping
the
turtle,
tusk.
especially with
It's
the
very
spines
safe.
here.
I think this is, if I recall, this is supposed to be like, oh, this is what MonsterVerse Gamera would look like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't.
Every time I see people talk about this
Not
design, I
wrong.
say this is my camera.
I don't even
I
feel
can
like
see it.
it would look like. Well, maybe it would. I'm not sure, but it just. I don't know. I just.
I agree with the bulkiness, but I agree with everything else that you're saying.
I mean, I like how thick it is. It's just.
I've
Yeah.
always loved this design.
One sec, you cut really badly there, Vic. Say that again.
Really. I've always loved this design. Can you still hear me
Like-
good?
I mean,
No,
I like
that
the
one I
art.
heard you good. Yeah.
It's very well drawn. It's just.
Yeah, no, it's a good drawn design.
Just, it looks like a turtle that walks on two legs.
It's a twiddle.
Yeah.
And then this design was done by the same guy who did the remember the really ankylosaur looking Anguirus design we did from
I
last
remember.
time? Same. This is the guy who did. This is his Gamera design.
I
Colors.
like where they were going with it.
Yeah. Looks
But-
like space Gamera.
Yeah, I like where they're going with it. But at the same time, like he said, shell.
Well,
In this case, it looks like he doesn't even have any plastrons at all. It like the upper it's very humanoid, and I'm just thinking like how those plastrons attach, because I can tell it's a plastron because you can see his tail connecting right here.
Honestly, its chest looks like kind of like a 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
It's
No, it looks
literally
like
like
a Transformer.
mutated Leonardo or Donatello.
Yeah.
yeah, this isn't Gamera. This is the Secret of the Ooze mistake. That's what this is. This was the concept art for who was it? Razor, was that his name, or what was the two monsters in Secret of the Ooze Ninja Turtles movie?
I
Oh,
have no
I
idea.
have no
Wait, I
idea.
thought
what
Toka.
Bebop and Rocksteady-
Toka.
Oh, Toka.
This is Toka's concept design. That's what this is.
But I mean, the colors are nice. That's one thing I say. I know as well.
The
as I do
color
like
palette
Iron
is
Blades.
nice. I like the color palette. I'm not sure about the rest of it.
We got this one right here.
That one's kind of cool.
It feels like the one above.
This one,
No, the one above that.
that one.
Yeah, it feels like that one, but like improved. Like it fixes up a lot of the issues we have with it. It makes it feel like it works.
Mm-hmm. I would say, well, since this one has a more just snapping turtle head, I like this head better, even though it's more
I was
generic.
gonna say, yeah, I like
But
that head
I do
better.
like this one's shell more.
Yeah, see,
And
this
then-
is
here's
what
the other
I'm
thing.
talking
Oh,
about.
Too long a tail. Shorten the
Yeah.
damn tail.
I
I
think
mean, it looks like the tail contracts into its body pretty well.
Well, actually, you can see the tail still hanging out right there in the saucer.
Yeah, but
Just
like
flails.
it's had it, but it works. Honestly,
It
works
works.
with the playing saucer feel.
It does, but if his tail was smaller, then it wouldn't even be there.
Well,
I mean,
this is the first
that
design that
thing?
I can't complain about the size of the shell. It actually looks like it fits.
Mhm.
The tail I agree with you, Zim, is a little too long. I think it should literally like the stub of the tail should like not even get to the edge of the paper.
Mm-hmm. Like I'd stop right there.
Yeah, and that would be I would be okay with that length. But this is the first design where the shell fits the body, in my opinion.
Yeah, fix the tail, fix the head.
I actually like
good
the
design.
head. I think the head's cool.
He looks like a bird. He like I know turtles have beaks, but he literally looks like.
I mean, I think he looks better than Advent cameras.
No, it looks better. Everything looks better than Advent camera.
But if you look at the one where he's taking off, if you look at like how they designed, like there's a clear picture of how it would look if it was flying, and everything about it makes sense. I think this is probably one of the better.
You know, like literally every time, and when I'm looking at this, when I'm not looking at the eye, it literally just looks like an angry bird right there.
Man, to me, more looks. I don't know. I kind of
yeah, but proportion wise, like
turtle.
Everything else looks good. I love it.
I don't see the bird, Zim. I see a turtle. I see a turtle.
I don't see what you're talking about.
It's especially just right up here with it, and then the eyes looking super, especially with the brows too.
I mean, I still see a turtle.
I see a turtle, but I see a bird and a turtle.
I mean, yeah, I get. I could.
A birdle.
A birdle.
A birdle.
I don't know.
That's nice. Next one.
Ooh.
This one's also super stylized, but it's like it's an even. This one also does a good job about where his arms would kind of fit.
Yeah.
But I don't like where the tusks are because they're outside of the face. I'm gonna say it again, even more like Advent Gamera. But this one really does take into account where his arms are getting moved around.
I can barely tell what's going on with this design.
It's very detailed.
Same. Well, it's not even that it's very detailed. Look at the way the hands are drawn. Look, I mean, the fact that it's supposed to be at a quarter angle, but the head isn't. It's very hard to tell. Like you're sitting here saying that the tusk is so far, and I can see that, but if it was actually drawn at the right angle, we'd actually have a better look at this. But those hands? What are those? Aren't even hands. Those are fins.
Well, that's essentially.
It looks like Gamera 3 sort of hands.
Yeah, they are Gamera 3 hands.
I think the reason the design looks the way it is because it's less to do with design itself, more of the struggle the artists themselves not really being familiar with how to draw right at the angle he wanted to be.
Right. Probably.
And it may not even be that because this one literally I plucked off a wiki, so I'm not sure who did this, and obviously the signature's there, so I'd have to find whose signature that is.
I think I've seen.
It looks like he's trying to show off what the neck looks like, the size of the body in terms of like length, and then what the plastrons look like without the hands getting in the way. And that just kind of conflicts with a few things, but like, I don't know, I just really don't like that head. Body length's pretty good. Hands are Gamera 3-ish. Tail's a little better than the other one. Although I'm not a super big fan of the colors, though.
I'm just not a big fan. I'm not a big fan. I don't know how anybody else feels, but I'd be ready to skip. Next.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about this one.
Sick. This one's just weird. We're getting closer to the more weirder ones.
But I kind of like this, though.
I do not like this.
I kind of like this.
I like the head.
The head looks like a Rancor. It looks like a Rancor.
I mean, that's fine. It's first off, it's Gamera.
It looks like high fantasy Gamera.
Yeah.
I don't like the tail though.
Almost.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing. Is how the tail's gonna get into the shell.
Well, again, this design isn't like the person who designed this isn't thinking about the fact that all of Gamera's abilities and what all he can actually do. And this design looks cool for something for the MonsterVerse, but I would never call this
I would never
Gamera.
want this in the MonsterVerse either.
No. What I'm saying is I would never call this Gamera. This would be fine for some random monster in the MonsterVerse or something like that, but I would never call this Gamera.
This would be a really cool like turtle dragon in like a Guild Wars or something, but like not Gamera.
Skip.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
This one right here.
He's a wide boy.
I like the pattern's cool, but it's
Pattern's
cool.
I also
Yeah.
like the fact that the tusks are now more shell rather than teeth.
Yeah,
it looks like they're like part of the bone.
it's good, but at the same time, it's like, why isn't one of the hands on the ground? Because he's leaning way too far forward for him not to fall over.
Mm-hmm.
It's I agree. This is kind of generic too, with minimal changes. Like the head design, I think is cool, but that's about it.
I like the head and the pattern. I think the pattern's a unique idea, but yeah, it's
We lost Vic.
He said something about he was trying to fix his stuff.
Yeah. What's it called? He still has a link, so he should still be able to join.
Next.
This one I told literally. I wish he was still here when I told Vic that someone was also using a red eye, red eye turtle. This was the one I was talking about. Was this one here? I like everything.
It's cool.
Tail's fine. This is the one where I'm gonna be fine with it. Although I'm still not a huge fan of the head. It's similar kind of issues I have with this one here, but
I like this.
You just don't want to
head.
give Gamera a beak.
Yeah, you really don't.
No, here's the
want
thing.
him to have a shark head.
I do like this head. I like when he has a beak. This one and that one no. This one just no. So like I don't know. I'm just super particular about my beaks.
I like this one, and I think what makes this one stand out for me is the eyes, not the red line, just the eyes having white in them, and then you can see like the iris and the pupil and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's sort of
he
like
looks-
what Guardian has with
He
its
looks
eyes.
threatening, but he also looks like he could be friendly.
Right.
Yeah,
I
because
like
I mean, going back to official designs,
Yeah.
both G1 and 2 had this. It was like
Mhm.
once you hit G3 and onward, where the eyes were just a singular solid
But-
color.
But that goes back to even more of my point. Even with the Showa design here, this design and Legion's design makes him look like he has intelligence, whereas G3 he looks like he's just a monster, like he's ready to destroy anything. He's not even thinking, you know.
Well, it's more like it's more sadistic and just ravenous rather than
Right.
like.
But
a
Gamera has
gentleman.
always been an intelligent creature, and the eyes in this design are what the bulkiness. Actually, this design's really good. I'm not sure about the hands and stuff like that, but
The webbing's fine.
The only thing,
the webbing isn't what bothers me. It's the fact that they're just so like flat.
the only thing this.
Well, that
is-
would support his weight better, especially if he's on the ground. He's got flat hands.
this
But he's
is a
not
good
walking on
turtle,
all fours.
But
This
if
is a
he
good
were
turtle.
to, that's what we're saying.
But it's just, I don't see how it could like fly. That's the only thing.
Agreed.
Like,
And this is another case of how's he gonna fly?
Mm.
Yeah, that's it. But it's a good. It's like if Gamera didn't have that ability, it looks good.
Yeah.
Mhm. In the Turnos Advent, this
That's
was
interesting.
his design here.
I think the tail is the shell is interesting.
This one or this one?
No, that one, yeah. I think the shell's interesting. With the
I do-
spikes setting out of it.
Yeah, I do like the spiky nature. I do like how the spikes work on this. And then this one, you can also really tell with the where the influence is coming from, especially with the lower legs, because that's very G1 and G2 focused right there.
It looks like they almost wanted this shell to have a function, but then it just doesn't.
Right.
Like it just
Right.
has those spikes randomly,
Right.
unless it's rams. He rams himself. I don't know.
The problem I'm
Everything.
having with all of these Gamera designs is like the legs are wrong and the arms are wrong. They're all of them have been too bulky, too much like the Heisei ones. And he's too skinny again. Like he's not the shell isn't bulky enough, or maybe he's just got washboard abs that I don't agree with. You know, like
Is it because he has abs and you don't that you have the problem with it?
I have
Or
abs, bro. You haven't seen me. I got abs now.
Is it because of the skinny fatness, or we actually pack in here?
Skinny fatness.
Yeah, it's a lifting term. We'll explain it later.
I'm not lifting. No.
Oh, you're not lifting. That
No.
explains it. Next design.
That's just
Gamera
Heisei
3.
Gamera.
Yeah, next.
Less detail.
Yeah, next.
This one.
Whoa, go back. No,
That's
no, no.
we'll go to the next one after. This is the one that comes before.
That one's cool. I like
Yeah,
that
I do-
one.
I like-
I like that.
I like
that
the
one
idea of
cool.
the head. Yeah.
Ooh, you know what? It looks. I like the head's cool. I like the shell. I think the shell's cool because it like clearly
Pangolin
influenced by
focused.
pangolin, but I think it's cool that it's like I don't know. It makes me feel more monstrous than turtle. Like
Yeah.
how it
I like
goes
it. It's
into-
actually different. It's not just another Heisei Gamera.
Right.
That's
I would
cool.
I would be interested to see.
But it can't fly.
Yeah. Again, it
Yeah.
can't fly.
I'd be interested to see what it looks like if it was flying.
I feel
That's
like
it.
I like the way this is going. I feel like if a couple more redesigns to like make it feel like okay, I could believe this thing's head and legs and junk could go into his body, then this could work.
Unless
I guess. Well, you can
unless
also
the
see there's like a
shell-
right there.
Yeah.
I was gonna
of,
say unless the
maybe.
shell is like 2016 Gamma where it has jets in the back, like in
if he rolls up into a
unfold,
ball, yeah.
like that'd be cool. And then I'd be like,
that,
all right, I can
does
roll with
sound
that.
really cool.
That would be interesting. Instead of him spinning like a saucer, he rolls like Anguirus, but
Like a
he's
jet.
got jets making him fly around.
Or no,
that's
he could
actually
still
kind
if
of
he's
funny.
just rolling, he could also still keep the saucer shape. It's just now he's rolling on his side.
No, not with.
I love that head though. That head, that roaring. Oh, that's fierce. It's really cool.
It's
Also,
fierce, but then also if he's gonna curl in, those tusks.
they could stick out and kill people or kaiju,
Right.
I don't know.
That's why this isn't Gamera. This is
Pangala.
Pangara. This is Pangara. This isn't
Pamera.
Gamera, but it's a cool
Pamera.
design. I'll give him that.
I think it's Gamera. I don't know.
Next one.
I think this is very interesting. Of course, he can't fly, but I like how much of a departure this is from.
Yeah,
Gamera.
this is one where it's like it's a very big departure, but I really do like this design.
Mhm.
The shell's cool.
I always like Luis's designs. He always does good stuff.
This honestly, this makes more sense to me than most, even the official Gamera designs, because of the nature of a turtle and the nature, like maybe the hind legs are a little too long, you know, or for the way they're designed, but for the most part, like I like the idea of the shell making him a hunchback, or at least giving him the appearance of a hunchback. And
This is a good lanky Gamera.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's because of the fact of like him hunching over, so the lankiness doesn't really get super accentuated because it's kind of compressed in the legs here.
Right.
And like that was also another thing that kind of carries over from 3 was that after 2, he really hunches over in 3,
Mhm.
and that was something that kind of carried over into Brave.
Yeah. Rightfully so. I like the hunch. I like the hunch over Gamera.
And what are your thoughts on the eyes? Since I know you really prefer the more humanoid
He
eyes.
He looks a little evil.
Yeah, he looks soulless. It looks like this could be like like a Murloc. That's actually, now that I think about it, this reminds me of a Murloc. I don't know why, just it's a Murloc.
Because Murlocs are also hunchback too, and they're green, so
Right.
I'm not surprised.
But
The colors are
he's,
good too.
Mm-hmm.
but he just looks. He doesn't look intelligent, but he looks like a beast. You know.
I also this is another one where it's got a beak that I like in terms of
Yeah.
its shape. It's kind of dinosaur looking, but there's still a beak there, as well as how the tusks are positioned too.
Unfortunately, the tusks are too far forward. It wouldn't work.
Hmm.
He wouldn't be able to actually, like, if he had tried to bite and he opened up his mouth, those tusks would keep the beak from touching his target.
Those tusks look more like
Oh,
mandibles.
one sec. It looks like Defender came back.
Yep.
Defender, welcome back, good sir.
Hey, I live.
Joke's on you. I lived.
It has too big. Arms are too big. Shell's too small. The
Can't
colors are
fly.
cool. Can't fly. And it's a good drawing, I guess. But like,
It also has this
Tail's
kind of
too
similar
long.
kind of tusk to this one too, in a way.
yeah, but that one's cooler. No, sorry.
The
I like the color scheme and
Pangara?
shell.
You like Pangara, huh?
I do like
Yeah.
Angara. That one looks. I don't know, something. It works better
Skip.
than that one. This is a good drawing, though, I guess.
It's a good drawing, but like
And this one here, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit because this
Ooh.
guy always does his designs where he does it as like an evolution of like it becomes like a regular creature that evolves into their monsters.
The tail. Oh my god, everything would be actually okay about this except for the final.
The first one was just a leatherback sea turtle.
Yeah,
Right.
well, yeah, because he always starts with a like real dinosaur or creature that becomes something fantastical. The marking idea is cool. The issue is that it literally looks way too much like Radon and Kyogre's markings. Like they look ripped from it.
I like the second one the most, to be honest.
Yes. I am so happy that exists because I would love to see more Gamera on all fours and popping up on his hind two legs when he's fighting like a bear.
I do like how that like the intermediate stage looks just as a turtle monster that isn't Gamera.
Yeah, I feel like he needs a bit more unique aspects to him to make him truly Gamera, but I like where that one, like I could see building Gamera off of that.
The issue is that always with this artist designs, David's designs, is that always the first thing is always a real animal. The design always tries to be very far off, but having small things like you can sort of see where the tusks are coming from, and you can sort of see where things are starting to become what finally is that design, which is his actual design that he gives off.
Yeah, this is a legendary Pokemon though. This isn't Gamera.
It's a third form of Caracosta. Especially with the fact of how his colors look. There.
This is too cool to be Pokemon.
It's too cool to be Pokemon. All right, Monster Rancher. How's that?
I don't know what that is.
Oh my god. Well, it's a... Never mind. I'm done.
I ain't afraid to talk smack about Pokemon. They deserve it.
This one's way too spiky.
Yeah.
The spikes. The unnecessary spike in the back of
crawling in my skin.
Also,
the one on the right looks like Mecha Gamera.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's literally the same design. It's just the fact that his plastron's open here. But like the biomechanical armor here does make sense.
I mean, it looks like it makes sense, but I don't think it actually does make sense because that one up top is not as bulky as the one on the bottom, and you got to take into consideration the shell makes up for a majority of the bulk of the one that's colorized on the bottom.
It's just Heisei Gamera, but sharper.
Yeah, that's it. Next.
Stop making just Heisei Gamera.
And there's this one right here. We're getting into the really wacky ones now.
That
looks like a Terrask.
I want to see more of it.
I want to see more of this.
Scarier.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
It looks cool, but it looks like a Terrask.
It looks like something. For me, it reminded me instantly of something out of Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Kind of, but like a little. It's essentially Earthbound kaiju in that sense.
I would like to see it from a different angle first before I give an opinion.
I tried to find different angles on this one. That was
I find this one too scary.
Yeah,
it's too spooky for Gamera.
It's too scary. It's not Gamera, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
I don't think it's scary, but I just feel like a bit much.
What
is
the?
That is this one right here.
I'll give you points for creativity. I'll give you that.
Look like an Ultra Kaiju.
Yeah. It does look like an Ultra Kaiju, yeah.
It is an Ultra. Anyway, next.
No, that's a Digimon.
That's a Digimon. I don't know.
Also, the tail's really weird. This is like the issue where not only is the tail long, it's got all of this right here. Especially the fact that, like, does it curl up with the, when he's flying like this?
It's too much. It's
yeah,
too much.
Especially with the wings. I don't like the wings.
Yeah, I'm not sure about why he went that direction, but okay.
Thoughts, Defender?
Oh, I've seen this one before. I thought it was pretty wacky. Like, it's almost like combining Gamera and Rodan, which is weird. A little bit of fingers too with the tail.
And there's this one right here.
I like the head.
Interesting.
The shell is just weird as all hell, though.
I can't tell if that's even supposed to be a shell.
It's supposed to be a shell, and I think these are supposed to be like openings, but I'm not sure what else is going on this one.
It's kind of hard to tell.
I'm at the point where not Gamera is my answer.
Yep. Next.
Not Gamera.
And these are the final two, and these were the wackiest ones I could find. These are both Gamera. These were both apparently Gamera designs, and this one literally says Gamera on it.
Are you sure? That looks like me. He looks so
Um,
dumb. I
My
love
thoughts
So-
on this one, I'm not even sure what to say on this one, but this one, it literally looks like one of the dinosaur antagonists
Yee.
from that show Dino Sapien. It literally looks like one of
It
those.
does. It
it. Oh,
does.
dude, I love that. That's great.
It
my
looks
God.
like it reminds me of, I know this is too old for you guys, but it looks like one of the Rulons from
Dino Riders.
Dino Riders. Yeah.
You think we're
the
all
other
gonna
one
remember
looks like he
Dino
has
Riders? We
pants.
may be young, but it's Dino Riders.
Dude,
Dude,
the
I
one-
was the thing was I was a kid when that was coming out on TV. It got taken off the air before you guys, any of you, were born.
dude, the one on the left looks like he's like a hillbilly in like big like.
It looks like an inbred Blastoise.
Yeah, I
Like
think
no,
that's the
like
best.
literally, like he lost his jets. He lost part of his shell. He's just got a bare chest here.
He has two
I know I
toes.
said we wanted a shorter tail, but this man literally just went no tail.
You know what
And
this
he pulled a me and he put 2 toes on it.
what this reminds me of is like it looks like Gamera meets Stephen King meets Cthulhu. That's what this reminds me of.
I don't install Lovecraft like that. Like
No, seriously, this looks like something that could be in a
I can't
Cthulhu
take it
game that I've
seriously.
seen.
I'll
I
give
just
the
can't take it
one. I'll give
seriously.
the Gamera on the left one thing. The claws are kind of cool.
The claw, yeah, the long claw. Well, I mean, long claws are fine. On a Gamera design, but just the rest of this, what the hell?
It looks like, I don't know. It looks like
Did
it,
you get
look, it
mine?
looks like a Cthulhu monster to me. Less than even a turtle. Just more like a
It just
weird.
looks like a weird monster, like a
Yeah.
deep one or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and now we're gonna be going to the what's it called? The ones that I got sent on Discord. I
Yeah,
got sent
the
a
ones I
bunch
sent
on
you.
Discord that I got sent in late.
These are the ones
So
I sent you.
there is a person who has not sent stuff in before that we're gonna cover their stuff first because they actually sent in a few designs. So I do want to include them.
Turtle. I don't know.
So let us go and let me share screen.
Excuse the resolution. The resolution not that good.
No, you're good.
No.
Don't worry.
Oh, Defender's dead.
Did we use Defender again? Defender.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
There you go.
I'm still
Okay. So this was the first one of the person who sent it on
I like
Discord.
that.
It's LSR05.
That's just the one from earlier.
Yeah.
I still like it. I like it a lot.
Proportions are nice, but it literally, I mean, it almost looks like it's that one that you said looks like a snapping turtle head. You know?
Neil, it looks like a cross between the
The thing I will
one
say
called-
about go, my man.
It looks
sorry.
like a cross between like the one that's they call the Monsterverse one, but like they gave it the shell of the one from 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, it combines those two in a way that I think actually works a lot better.
Yeah.
And also the head is still very snapping turtle like, but it just does it a lot better, in my opinion.
I don't think this thing could stand.
Mm-mm.
it looks so bulky that it's like, oh my god, those tiny little Godzilla 2014 feet. I don't even think those could handle it. Like they can support Godzilla, but I don't think they could support this camera.
I mean, it's one thing I will say. It's ironic that Gamera usually just looks more bulkier than Godzilla, but Gamera's always been lighter than Godzilla in every movie he's been in.
Well, that's because he's a bioengineered monster. He's not.
Well, not even to the point where you could say like he's bioengineered. It's like he's weirdly small and light. Sick. And then
Chunky.
I mean, have you ever put a turtle up to a Komodo dragon? I'm just saying.
next one, and
Cool,
he did
though.
a couple of these. So we also did a few Gauss as well.
Oh, I like the Gauss idea.
Yeah.
What's the bottom? Is that
So the
Gamera?
bottom one, they did do a few designs. So there was 4 different designs. There was the leatherback, the long neck, and the cannon back, and then there was just a classic one.
They feel less like Gamera designs and more like prototype designs. Like they're like in lore. This is what they were testing that will end up becoming.
Yeah, that's actually really
Yeah,
That's kind of genius.
yeah,
That
if
like
that's
they
the
should do
intent.
that in the anime.
Yeah, that
Just
looks
saying.
really cool in that case.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. Do that in the anime.
I like how
I
they just
like-
make
I like the-
Gaussian.
I like how the top one has things under its shell.
Yeah, the jets are
That's
all
cool.
along the plastron, so instead of him curling in, he would just fly.
It's kind of thought out.
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing I will say is that the flight mechanics weren't done classically, but they are done cleverly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have an opinion on it. Honestly, every Gauss looks the same to me. To be honest, every time like anyone tries to like design a Gauss, even in the 2015, 16, whatever trailer, it always just looks like they're like, oh look, it's Gauss from Gamera. Like it's.
I
don't know.
mean,
They
to be
just
fair,
don't-
it's kind of hard to top it.
Mhm.
yeah, but like
This design kind of
Oh.
reminds me of the dragons from Game of Thrones.
I think it's because of the colors and just how they're positioned too.
I think-
like
well,
it
I
definitely
think
does
it's-
remind me of Drogon.
Yeah, well, the way the chest is, the legs are, like that's more of a dragon, less of a Gauss.
Yeah, one thing I would say is that the body is fine, even if it's more dragon-like, but it still
Yeah.
keeps the head and especially the tail too. It has
Yeah.
more of it actually it keeps a more of a Showa tail, which I do liked from the original. And then there was one more design they did, which is a pretty more classical design, and it is this one. Again, it's pretty similar to the green one we saw. It's just a little bit softer in features.
I like that one better.
Really? Oh wow.
Nah.
Explain why. I'm curious.
Mm,
I don't know. I just like. I mean, okay, wait.
Too front heavy.
You know what, the only reason why I like it better is because it's not just trying to replicate the the other Gamera designs. That's literally the only reason. But to be honest, it's not the I don't know. I feel like there's some aspects of it that need to have more defined features, especially the head.
I think it's just too front heavy. Ironically, this is one of the few ones
That's true.
the tail should be longer to compensate.
I could see it. Yeah.
'Cause it looks like it just wouldn't stand.
It could stand, but just probably not for long though.
Nah. And the limbs are very stubby. Like, it does not have, like, any reach at all.
Especially with it. Well, yeah, I think this one could accommodate for the flight better. It's definitely the fact where his arms would need to be longer too to accommodate for that. But then you run into the issue of how his arms gonna fly
well,
back in.
I don't think he needs to worry about the arms, to be honest with you, because traditionally speaking, Gamera is a pretty fragile monster that can take battle damage, and traditionally, outside of Showa, he's usually using his abilities more than he's using his actual mass to do anything.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
even
but,
looking
like,
at this,
he's
like
usually
if
acrobatic because of that.
this Gamera were to like fall on all fours, its back legs are too long. Because if it were on all fours, it
Yeah.
would be just kind of like its back of the shell would be raised up more than its head.
Right. I mean, I like the bulkiness of the shell, but this design isn't very proportionate.
I could, well, what's it called? If this was like two sides, similar to Tyrannos's design, if the head could rear up past that, it could work, probably. If we were gonna logic burrow it out. But I do like the design. I do like the one thing I do like is I like Gamera when he's colored more like this rather than green, in my opinion.
Mm.
And Sarah actually said it's a younger Gamera too, which makes sense.
Okay.
What about
And
the,
Brandon
when I-
also did send me
Oh, go
another
ahead.
one too before you guys have sent me any. This is another just wacky one.
Gamera.
Let's share.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that guy. Dude, I love that guy's work so much.
He is
It
good. His
so
art is
impressive.
good, but I'm looking at this.
Love
That's
it.
not Gamera. I'm sorry.
Mm.
This looks more like an original Kaiju.
It
Yeah.
looks like an
I
original
like it.
kaiju. I really do like it. You know what? Remove the eyes, like the regular animal eyes. I could totally see this being like one of those aliens from Darwin 4.
Mm.
It's like Pogger.
I feel like if like
Hey, literally.
aliens.
Did he say powder?
No,
No.
Pogra.
Oh.
Inside joke.
Oh,
Still, I think this guy's work is some of the most refreshing stuff for like monster designs I've seen in a long while.
I know he did a Darwin 4 Godzilla design too, so literally I could see this being a Darwin 4 Gamera design.
Yeah.
Honestly. And let's me get.
I'm in a Discord with. I think I'm in a Discord group with the guy.
Oh, this person's design. Okay.
Who?
No, yeah, I'm looking at the one you sent, Potato.
Yeah. Like I actually really like those. They feel like I don't know what's the word. Like they feel like sticking to what's there.
I know the
but
person
yet
who did this. I
making
think their
something
name is
new.
like Sophia Campbell or something. I know they worked on
Yeah, they worked on Ninja Turtles. And
Ninja
stuff.
Turtles, like the IDW stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of their run of Ninja Turtles, but I do like the they really did do a interesting job fleshing out the Gamera abilities. I also know they had done a we did look at their Godzilla design.
I like the bottom
back
one.
on that stream.
Yeah.
The ones in the corner over there. Those ones.
These ones right here.
I like the one at the very corner. That one looks
This one.
cool.
I think that's brilliant. It's like this Gamera combines both the friendliness and like traditional elements of like Heisei and or like Showa as well, of like being approachable, friendly, and stuff like that, but also finding a way to both have a cool Gamera that works. They're like, hey, this thing could fly, this thing could do all this. It actually makes sense.
It definitely isn't just a copy and paste of Heisei. Like it actually looks like
Also, that too.
the
I'm
original.
tired of Heisei Gameras. If you couldn't tell.
Can you zoom in on the corner over there?
That one.
he really likes
Oh, you
that.
can't. I just like I want to look at it more, but I can't.
It's gonna pixelate the image, but
It's
That's
fine.
okay. I think the silhouette's cool. Also,
I love the color schemes.
it reminds me of a Zoid kind of.
You know, maybe that's something. Oh, man, I just hope they do something refreshingly new with Gamera in this anime series. Because first off, it's animated. They can totally do better than they did with Singular Point. I think they could totally do better with like this whole concept of the armor of the shell, like literally consuming the body and encasing in armor. Why can't Gamera have that? That'd be so cool.
Because then they'd have to make like 5 different figures for it.
Yeah, but then
Actually,
that's
give
more
them more
merchandising.
money.
That's more
Yeah,
merchandise for them to make
fair.
money off of. Why can't they do this?
We
Makes
could
sense,
literally
right?
like what's it called? Just make it like part of a transforming toy line.
That sounds like a brilliant idea.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he already has that about him, transforming, having all these different abilities, blah 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 blah. But like, why not? Like the thing that I think most kaiju fans don't appreciate about Gamera is the fact that he is not actually a turtle. He is a bioengineered creature. He's not meant necessarily to be a turtle. He has elements of a turtle, but he can fly. He's got, an internal combustion engine inside instead of, a stomach. He doesn't eat or anything, like if you've ever looked at like
Doesn't eat regular
Well,
things.
to be fair, a lot of
Yeah,
those
but
traits are
also-
only Heisei Gamera has.
huh?
Like the him being bioengineered and stuff like that. That's Heisei Gamera. That's not, Showa Gamera.
Well, actually, if I'm not
Most people would-
mistaken, Showa Gamera, they never actually say where he comes from. Other
Well,
Yeah,
they
but,
say he
like-
came from like he's just a creature of legend. So essentially,
Right.
it's
Yeah, but
Godzilla's
turtles
origin.
exist in the Showa series because
Yeah.
the little kid
Yeah.
had like a turtle, and then Gamera
Yeah.
shows up.
So, like, I mean, you can say that, but, like, that's a bit of a stretch.
I mean, unless it's in the canon in the Showa series of exactly where Gamera came from, all they only allude to him coming from somewhere, being a legend or whatever. So that's the actual canon. You can't say it's a cop-out because that's all they gave us. In the Heisei series, they specifically say he's bioengineered and stuff like that. They actually give him something to work for. It's not like the thing you got to separate about the Showa series versus the Heisei is that the Showa series was literally made for kids and to make money off of kids. It was to exploit kids. The show, that's why I don't like the Showa Gamera except for like the first 3 movies. The rest of the Showa series can eat, pig
Say
manure.
it. If you're gonna allude to it, you will say it on my stream. or I
A
will
giant
come down to
prehistoric
Arizona.
turtle with tusks. That's what
Well,
Gamera
you can
is.
go to Arizona
Yeah.
all you want. I don't live there.
I will go to
An
Texas.
atomic bomb explodes, awakens a giant prehistoric turtle in tusk from Antarctica.
You know what's something I want?
And that's the American version of how Gamera comes in.
You know,
But
I think I've told Zim about this, but I would like to see Gamera as a golem.
yes. That's what I think he is, in my opinion. I think he's very similar to King Caesar.
No,
Mhm.
I mean like the traditional legend of the golem, the Jewish folklore about it being a giant made of clay, meant to defend those who were wrongfully accused of things they did not do.
Then he can't fly.
Well, I mean, he could fly.
No,
I mean,
because
it's-
he'll
it's
melt
a-
the
it's
clay.
Magic.
He'll melt the clay.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Well,
it's a clay statue moving.
It's a magic.
So,
It's a magical golem brought to life by magical words.
so
Let's
yeah,
do
like
some
at that
creative
point,
liberties.
I would say at that point, like if you're using magic to bring something to life, I would not be surprised if it could fly.
Well,
Yeah, creative
and-
liberties.
Well,
But
and
sort of like
that's
same thing as like with witches flying. Or,
Mhm.
like I
well,
don't,
that's the whole point that I was making earlier. If Godzilla's more about the science, then Gamera is more about the fantasy. And
Exactly.
he always has been. And,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be
so-
a bad thing. But
exactly. Yeah.
he's
so,
already frail enough. You want to make him straight clay? Come on.
I mean, again, hey, it will make him getting stabbed feel be a bit more believable.
It would be interesting because in that case, if Gamera's a golem, then his blood being green could also just be like a kind of ichor that golems produce. So I mean, you could world build around that interestingly enough.
And I think I don't think I've told Zim this, but in the original tale, they put I forgot what the exact word was, but they put a word on the golem's forehead, and it means truth.
You're
in
talking
English.
about Gilgamesh, dude.
No.
No, this isn't actually the tale of the golem.
Yeah, it's a Jewish story.
Right. That. Okay.
Golem,
never mind. I'm not gonna.
Gamera lum.
Gamera the golem.
But what's it called? Takaiju's design.
Oh yeah, hi.
Hello.
This is I sketched this in like a day. I was like, oh, I wonder how I would tackle Gamera. I didn't really. There's not a lot thought out. There's some things that I've thought out, but it's early. I guess I don't know.
Well, I think it actually, out of all the designs we've seen so far, this one makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Like, I like how you gave him short hind legs and gave him bulkier front legs, and how he's like having to walk on his fist. I love that concept. And the bulk of his body with the shell makes sense, and as well as it makes sense with him being able to fly.
It would be interesting to see like what we do color wise, but I
I don't know.
specifically like how you sketch
I
the
don't know.
arms with how that
Yeah.
looks, especially with how it's armored. That's one thing that I think takeaway wise I really do like. One thing I would say though is it does make sense he could fly. He does seem very bally though, especially with the flying shot there on top. But
I love
that-
his
like,
roundness.
it's fine.
You
So-
like the round booty, huh?
Okay, I feel like I need to. Well, I'll let everyone explain, but I want to explain some things that I was
Shoot.
thinking of. I'll let you guys finish. But...
Oh no, I'm good. I got mine.
Nah, not very much else to say.
Okay. Well, so yeah, I made him bulky because I've already mentioned I've had that I'm like, you know what, he's like a pancake, so I wanted to make him bulky, give him like a very round shape. And for the, so what I have been doing recently whenever I'm redesigning something is like I don't want to look at any other like versions except for maybe the first like incarnation of that character, and then just take references from everything else then. So the first Gamera design is always on like 4. So I was like, you know what? let's change it up. Let's put him on 4s. let's. So I wanted to like have it so like okay, he kind of walks on his knuckles a bit, or more so, maybe more so like how if you've seen tortoises at the zoo, their hands are their front legs are really weird and they kind of walk weird. So I was like, how about Gamera just like walks like that and can rear up to like slap or something if he wants to.
Mhm.
So I did that, and then I wanted to keep his like kind of shark head, but I wanted to still give him a beak because like all turtles have beaks. So I gave him a little curve at the end of it, but still giving that like, I guess, thing there or whatever. And then the thing that I still need to work out, because it is going to be a process. The biomechanical, or like he can fly. So what I thought, which I haven't seen this really anywhere, I'm surprised no one else has really done it, is like, what if his like on the outside he looks like he's like, I don't know, he has like it looks organic, but then like those like he has different segments that can like kind of almost like, I don't really watch Transformers, but like how Beast Wars, like they have like they look like animals, but then they can like kind of break apart in like certain parts of their bodies.
Yeah, so like once they open up, you can see the mechanical bits.
Yeah, so like I thought like, okay, what if like these parts on him, like the arm there, I drew really rough seams. Like what if they could like break apart and like shift into like different like kind of shapes, so then he could like have jets instead of like an arm, or like or something like that. And like you can also like have his shell do stuff like that too, and just make him so like he still looks organic, but he can like split apart, and then like, ooh, he's like,
you're taking the mechanical and biomechanical to the max.
Yeah, and that's what that's what I think Gamera should be, because it's like that's such a unique part of him, and you could easily say like, yeah, he's made as, I guess, sort of like a weapon. So it's like, I think he would have those attributes instead of just a hole that shoots fire.
The thing I'm thinking of is that like how you described it, I immediately just thought of what's it called? Not Sundowner.
Armstrong?
Monsoon.
Oh, that works too.
Yeah, he looks like, it reminds me exactly of Monsoon with the segmentation and just how he connects in that way. That's immediately what I think of.
I don't even know what that is, but
yeah, I don't know.
Play Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Oh Jesus,
filthy plebeian.
But yeah,
there
so
will
like
become.
that was my process, at least like how I want to actually tackle the biomechanical parts, is that like, oh, you kind of maybe see hints of it on his skin, but for the most part he looks organic, and then he can like separate and like maybe do different things. Like I would imagine like even his like shell can open up, kind of like with the whole mana thing, like he still has that little orb in there or something.
You know what it kind of reminds me of, with the whole concept that you have going, is something out of Guyver. Like a Zoanoid type
the breast,
a Zoanoid type of Gamera thing, where it could do all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's all bioengineered, biomechanical.
Yeah,
I kind of want to watch Guyver again now.
I just think that would, I want to play more around with that with this design. Like it's not entirely inherent in like the whole thing, but I think it would be, I think that's, honestly, I would love to see like an official Gamera design actually do that. I guess there's, to some extent they do, but they don't go into detail of like how it works. You just kind of see it happen with like Gamera 3, how like you could see some stuff shifting. But I always found that cool, because it's like, it's like, you're like, what's going on in there? So like it'd be cool to actually see like, how it actually functions, sort of. And like, I guess even 2015 kind of, you see very little, but like, I want to see that. I want to see him like, I don't want to see smoke and then he gets in the shell. I want to see him like transform and then he turns into like the saucer.
Transformers roll out.
Yeah, literally. Like he's, yeah. But I don't know. That's really it for my Gamera.
I like that idea. It's very unique. I don't think I've ever heard of a Gamera idea like that.
I'm just surprised it hasn't like been thought, like at least from what I've seen. I haven't seen a lot of people just like think of that, and I'm like, but I'm gonna incorporate it in mine because why not?
I might have to borrow / steal that idea.
No, just kidding. You can. more gamers should do it, so I'll do it.
We'll let final thoughts go to Vic because I know Vic essentially died during the stream.
Again, I just love the roundness of it. The way the jets come out and like the smoke trails, I really like that. I love the shell and like the details you sketched out in the back, and the way his limbs look with his tail too. The head I really like. I like how you can see how it can like go in and retract into a shell. Like it looks like everything like functions biomechanically, like you said, and I really like that.
Thank you. I think if I were to change, well, I think over this is still a sketch. I think I like the shape of him, but and like how he like walks. I think if I were maybe I'd make the tail a little. I didn't make it super big, but I'd make it a little smaller maybe. But then
I
again,
think the tail size is fine.
or I could also have it retract somehow with like the things.
But not to well, with what you've thought about, really, his tail could be really any length, give or take.
It could even turn into a jet if I wanted to. Like
He
if
could
you
turn
want,
into a
if,
jet.
like, you
Well,
could have,
honestly,
like,
he could
airplane
the
form.
whole design. Where I should say less the design, more the concept that you're thinking of could really allow him to change forms really at will, so he could look more like any of the other designs we've seen. It's just that this kind of is, you could say, like a protoform or like a base state for it, where
Yeah,
things
or
can kind of
just
shift and change.
Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, that's basically that's what Gamera, I guess, would look like. It's just like, oh, I'm walking in the city and I'm doing Gamera things. But like, it'd be cool to see him. Like, I love in the trilogy how like Gamera could like he has the saucer form, which they made that cool and not goofy, but he can also like have like his wing hand things out, and I'm like, that's cool. Like you could, and then it's like with this you could like make kind of have that too, but like I don't know, like.
Well, I like how they represented that in Gamera 3 when he's fighting Iris in the air and you can see him doing the wing thing. And then when he's like, all right, I'm going to ram this thing, everything comes in and he's just the flying saucer and then he hits him.
He compresses into the saucer and then his shell actually presses
like,
down further.
I imagine Gamera could like be like very like slow and lumbering and strong when he's like on land, but like in the air, I can imagine him being a complete menace and super fast and just like switching up his body parts to like accommodate for like battle, like what he can like, oh, he can use his shells like to like ram a kaiju in the air, but then he can also like go back and like make a sharp turn with his like winged form or whatever that like.
Man, if he does that, then there's an element of anti-gravity that he possesses. That's the true story of his origins. Ghidorah birthed Gamera into existence. That's why he could do all of that stuff.
Yeah, no, that
I like that idea though of the transforming. Like if he was fighting another monster and it was like all up in his face or whatever, his arm could just immediately go from being an arm, like transform into the rocket boost and like
just blast it
in the face. You know, that would be so cool. Like, haha, you thought you had me, didn't ya? Didn't ya?
Gamera can actually be a weapon, like what he was made for. Like
right.
And then it explains the whole like fire breath because it's like, oh, it's just like a weapon he has in his mouth. Like, boom.
Well, you know, the other thing you can really think about, you like, because this is something like I was touching on earlier. Gamera never eats except fire. He does consume fire.
It's fuel.
It's his fuel. That's how he literally refuels.
Like
so if you think about that, if he doesn't eat anything but fire, he doesn't have a stomach and intestines and all this. So his internal organs actually could be mysteriously absent, which would allow for the arms to be super bulky and have plenty of space in that thick shell you gave him, as well as house all of his, his reactor, the thing that powers him. I was thinking about this too. Like, what if Gamera's heart isn't actually in his body, but it's in his head, close to his brain?
The one thing is that tactically, if you just aim for his head, then you lose both his brain and his heart too.
Well, if you knock off Gamera's head, he's dead.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
But
Because
like,
he's
if you
cooler.
knock off, if here's the thing though, is that if you knock off his head, you could hypothetically, if there's other organs that could do a contingency run and like run the body on its own. That's something
that
you
would
could
be
do.
interesting. But
Or like see if like, or if anything,
you got to give him a weakness.
yeah. Well, I mean, like, what's it called? He's not like he's the strongest thing in the world. So
But
like,
It's kind of ironic that he isn't like durable though. Like you could literally like slice Gamera with like paper and he'll bleed. Like it's,
Right,
like, he's
and
a
that's
turtle though.
That's
Like-
what I'm saying. Like he's got this shell. Like you even see like Iris like penetrate his shell. You know, like stabbing him in the stomach and stuff. Cut off his arm. You know,
well,
like
Gamera cut off his own arm in that case. He shot off his own arm.
That's one thing. I think Gamera should be more durable, at least in the shell areas, because like seeing him get stabbed through the shell, it's like
right. It's
how-
kind of like, why do you have a shell?
But I think it's because what's it called? We
Yes.
do see like in G1 he does deflect things off with his shell, and I think it's the fact that because he has a shell, people think he's gonna be super defensive. So breaking off the shell is like a way to show, oh wow, this monster's really strong. It's like Wolverine syndrome, where
yeah, but it just
because
happens a
Wolverine's
lot.
invulnerable, you can just beat the hell out of him.
Yeah, but
essentially.
that's the problem. Like they make him too weak. He's got a shell. Like honestly, that needs to be the thing that his enemies need to figure out how to get around. You
Or
know?
maybe it's not
which-
that he's too weak, or maybe it's just that like every Gamera monster is just for some reason
is really
like,
strong.
is
I mean,
really
Giron
strong.
wasn't like Giron took several hits to break his shell, and like because he hit him like 4 or 5 times,
Iris, I
and then
feel
like
like
once he
makes
hit
sense.
him through, he finally starts like bleeding profusely.
Yeah, but Iris blasts him with her beams while they're in the air, and it literally like blasts the shell. Blood splatters on the camera.
Well, yeah, but also this is Iris is also just far stronger than even the Gauss in those cases, and from G1 we saw that Gauss gets stronger because Iris is a Gauss. No, like literally, that's what Iris is. Yeah,
I know Iris is a Gauss, but I wouldn't necessarily say that they're stronger because
Iris is a Gauss on
Iris.
LSD.
Well, it's
Oh.
a type of Gauss, but
Yeah.
Iris. I wouldn't say Iris is stronger.
oh no,
I
Iris
think-
is definitely stronger.
Well, the whole reason I don't think that is because it didn't take much for Gamera to destroy Iris. Because I
Well,
mean, they only had like one real battle, and
They
in
had
that
one
battle,
real battle. Well, here's the thing: was that one Super Gauss couldn't kill Gamera, and then Gamera got stronger progressively over the movies. Not to mention with by the end of Gamera 3, with the low mana levels, it's implied and stated in other places that the Gauss were also just stronger. So Hyper Gauss is stronger than Super Gauss, and Hyper Gauss's scalpel wasn't even able to scratch Gamera in their battle, and he was able to kill them with like 2-3 hits from his
that's
plasma.
not true. If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, at the very beginning of the movie, when he's fighting the Gauss, one of the Gauss blasts him, and some of the blood gets on the place, and that's when the girl that was connected to him says something about that.
No, that's in the first movie. I'm talking about Gamera 3.
No, I'm talking about Gamera 3 when they're flying over the city and he's fighting like the 2 or 3 Gauss, and you can
we can like that. No, he hits Gamera's arm and sparks fly off, but he doesn't bleed at all.
I swear he
fight.
bleeds.
We can literally go through the film after this. I will show you which clip I'm talking about.
Okay.
I love how Gamera 1 and
What are you
Gamera
two
3
talking about?
are like.
Gamera 3.
3.
I love how Gamera 1 and Gamera 3 are like connected with his like origins with the whole Gauss thing, and then like
Legion is just
Gamera
kinda
2 is just
there.
like an alien. It's
Yeah.
Well, no,
"Oh,
but like
I'm gonna-"
in a way, it's good because it helped the film be a lot different. And
Not gonna lie, I think Legion's the best of the trilogy.
I think Legion's
no,
dope.
like, they're all-
Legion's dope, but like
They're good films.
I'm biased with Iris. I think Iris is
Nah,
so cool.
nah.
I like the
I
more
don't- I
intimate
don't-
stories between 1 and 3 versus.
well, it's because 1 and 3 are connected that allows them to be more intimate in that case. But like on their own, I
I'll-
guess.
The thing is, like,
yeah,
I don't
Legion's
really.
scary.
I'm not impressed with Iris, honestly. I just never really like the way they presented Iris made me feel like, how am I supposed to be impressed with this thing over the last film where it literally took him doing a spirit bomb just to kill it, and then we have this hentai monster pulling up, and he's supposed to be his equal, even though he barely does anything other than suck the shit out of a bunch of random people I never heard of.
Yeah, the issue comes in the fact that because they wanted because Gamera is shown to be stronger, it doesn't really come across that way either because Iris is still his match, and because the fight between Gamera and Legion is more mismatched, it does make Legion come off as stronger in that case.
Plus, the other thing about Legion, if you look at if you compare it like Gamera 1 to Gamera 2, Gamera in Gamera 1, there's not a whole lot of like citywide mayhem destruction stuff, whereas Legion, they're all about taking over buildings, subways, destroying cities, airports, like there's
Legion's
so much
gigantic.
way more destruction. When I say intimate, I don't mean intimate as in like I'm talking about the scale of what's going on. With Legion, the scale was huge. I mean, he freaking summons the spirit bomb, right?
Yeah, it was,
But,
it was also an invasion
But
too.
when you had the first one, you had 3 Gauss that he was dealing with. They weren't always in the city until like I would say like halfway to the end of the movie. And then the same thing kind of with Gamera 3 is there's so much buildup to this climactic final battle, and what happens with the monsters before that is very it's very intimate. It's very
It's intimate and it's less like because
it's not on such a broader scale. Like he goes
And,
from
yeah,
being in the forest, into the sky, into the city, dead.
and
Like,
well, not just into the city, but into a specific building.
right. He doesn't even. They don't even like destroy.
Well, they do because we remember when he shoots his plasma fire from the sky, and Iris just deflects it and sets the entire city ablaze. But like after that, it's all confined in the train station. But the other issue is the fact that the fight between Iris and Gamera is far more personal, so everything gets lowered down. Where Legion was a just literal alien invasion movie.
Yeah, right.
Which is that story allows itself to have these more broader stakes.
Right.
In comparison, but like that's not a knock against either of the films. But we should. I'll say this for another stream so we can deep dive more into this because we're heading up about 3 hours now.
I just think. No, go ahead.
No, go because I'm just gonna have everyone give their intros or the outros. Shows how tired I am.
I mean, all I'm going to say is that I think Iris is just the best villain design of the Gamera trilogy.
Oh yeah, that's why I love it.
The design is gorgeous. I love Iris.
Or her.
No,
Yeah.
Legion. I'm talking about Legion. I think Legion has the best design.
I think it's a very close second. I like all the designs of the monsters from the Gamera trilogy.
Like to this day, I still can't fully comprehend what I'm looking at.
What with Legion?
Yes, like I can't understand like what limbs go where.
It's
like,
Batra on steroids. That's all it is.
And see, it's more than just that too, because like especially with like Batra Maga form, because not to mention
not in Mago
back
form,
and
Batra larva form.
even with larval form too. Like there's so much more going on with Legion than there is with
Legion
Batra.
looks like an alien.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I'm talking about like the general design. It's a Batra design. It's just got more limbs that actually move, and he can shoot more things and do like he's got those really cool. I don't even know rope laser thingies that he shoots out. You know what I mean? When he pierces
electro whips.
Yeah, the electro. I've always liked those things, even like in Evangelion. Those are really cool.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Plugging time, everybody. Potato, you start.
I am a potato. That is all. Goodbye.
Vic, your thoughts? Ending. Shilling.
All right. You can find me on G98 Appreciator on Twitter as well as Crispy Vic. On YouTube, I go by Kaijunot. And that's about it.
To Kaiju.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter to Kaiju Art. Where I post a lot of art on a daily basis. Wink.
I know it's so much art I can't ever keep up.
Yep. I always post art.
Well, I'm gonna be heading off now. I have stuff to do in the morning. See ya.
And the Mata, the Atom, the Mata. Say.
My name's Adam. I have Godzilla Apex on YouTube, 2 seasons deep, and working on a reboot to the series. Actually, So Godzilla Apex there. I think I have a Twitter, Godzilla Apex or at Godzilla Apex, and that's it. I don't even get on the Twitter. So really, I have a Discord, but that's about to get changed too. So yeah, like just Godzilla Apex on YouTube. If you really want to join anything, you can join my Patreon, but that's about it.
And of course, you know me, you know where to find me. Support the coffee. That's going to help because Defender knows us. We are working on a project and we will need all the support we can get for that. So stay tuned. We're probably going to have some streams discussing that. And that's all, guys. Hope you're going to be enjoying the Gamera stuff when it comes out. And we love them turtles.
Godzilla sucks.
Godzilla